Well, now then, welcome back to Season 28 Survivor Tier List. We're back once again. This is a completely new tier list made by whoever made the tier list. The link is up here. Just to show you guys, I'll put it in the description as well. But anyways, onto the tier list we go. We have 6 tiers. The first one is Help Me, second one is Niche, third one is Total Ranking. And then we have Tie Guarantee, Team Comp Dependent, and then Replaceable. We basically, I won't go through how this works. The top is meta, the bottom is very bad. Let's get onto the tier list then, shall we? I'll try to make this as short as I can. If it ends up being 2 hours long, not my fault, too much to talk about. Now then, first and foremost, Lucky Guy. For me, once again, Lucky Guy will still be still be a part of Replaceable, let's say. Because, in a nutshell for Lucky Guy, if you want to play him well, you need items. What does it mean to have items? It means you need luck. Especially with the fact now that in mid-tier, Griffin/Unicorn, there's area selection mode. And you may be able to have 4-man teams, but even if you do have 4-man teams, you're most likely going to be first chase. It's also considering the fact that high chase hunters are now considered meta. High chase hunters are huge metas right now, especially in rank as well, mind you, especially in rank as well. So then, like with area selection mode and all, if you spawn somewhere in which you want to spawn, if it's near chest, hunter will know that you want to spawn near chest. What will happen then is they'll also spawn closely towards you, so then you don't have time to go look for chest. Yes, you do have a lucky parcel to use, but if you think about it right, with Lucky Guy's recent adjustment, you can move while using Lucky Parcel. That's great and all, but does that change much? No, not really, because most Lucky Guy mains before this buff can immediately tap Lucky Parcel and then immediately tap what they want, because you know it's basically muscle memory by this point, right? So then like that does help out, maybe creating 2 meters, 3 meter distance between himself and the hunter. But once again, it relies on luck, whether you get the item you want or you get a needle. Right, so there's that as well. I'm not saying that Lucky Guy is bad. If you have a Lucky Guy and you basically do whatever the hell you need to do, like for example you decode 50% cipher, you get a doll and you can get the doll to, you know, decode the cipher machine, great, and you can move on towards the next cipher machine or find an item. But like, once again, he's still highly replaceable. If you want a doll, have mech. If you want bald, have forward. If you want elbow pads, have merc. And also, it's including the fact that if you want Merc's elbow pads, all Merc has to do is to find an item, and then Merc can bring his 2 elbow pads towards you. So you have 2 elbow pads instead of 1 elbow pad, right? And then like, so it's basically so much more as well. Perfume, he only gets 1 perfume. But like, I know some people might like playing Lucky Guy because he's like the jack of all trades. But once again, being a master of none isn't really that good for you. Especially with the fact that you need items to contain early game, right? You're gonna need items for early game. If you don't have items, not good for you at all. So that's kind of the reason why I'm putting Lucky Guy on Replaceable. He's it's like saying, oh yeah, he can beat everyone, but also at the same time he can't perform like everyone. Like if you're first chase, kinda screwed, right? But then if you're second or third chase, maybe it's doable. And then if maybe you're harassed with a first officer's watch or a gun, maybe that's doable. But like, once again, it's basically half of the full effect of the item. So for example, Cordy's gun, you stun less longer. First officer's pocket watch, you only can ring it twice, and so on more, which is why I'm saying Lucky Guy is most likely a part of Replaceable. For you in your solo rank matches, if you focus too much on like getting items and wanting to harass, there's not going to be any cipher done. But if you focus on decoding instead, what's the point of you playing Lucky Guy when you can play, you know, a magician, let's say, or even like a female dancer, let's say, and you can decode just the same amount but having more items and not waste time looking for stuff at chests. So it's kind of, so yeah, that's kind of my argument for Lucky Guy. But like, if you think about his cons, he's kind of a little bit like everyone. But once again, if he's first chase, which is highly likely, you're kind of screwed for life, aren't you? You're kind of screwed for life. Now then, moving on, next will be Doctor. Doctor will be highly part of Team Comp Dependent. I would love to place her on Replaceable, but it is true that Doctor can go in and body block for survivors, right? That also is very true. But now, once again, why isn't Doctor a little bit higher than team comp dependence? Well, that's simply because, once again, very similar to Lucky Guy first chase. If you're first chase, you're screwed, right? If you're second chase, you're still screwed. But at least you can come in and body block, you heal survivors faster, you can heal behind pallets, right? And if you manage to do that, once again, that's all really up to the mind games between you and the hunter. So like, it's just basically one level, another level, another level of mind games. So like, once again, it just depends so much on how you play yourself, right? And how the hunter plays as well. Usually the hunter will have the upper hand though, I'll give you that. Usually the hunter will have the upper hand though when it comes to pallet mind games and such. And once again, if there's a doctor on the team, why don't we play BQ? Why don't, well, maybe not BQ, but like, why don't we play chip hunters like Bonbon and Sculptor? They still counter Doctor, even if Doctor gets a 25% movement speed boost. And who else is there? There's also Anne, there's also Geisha, Fast Chase, and Go Up True Pallets. There's also like, let me think, who else is there in my hunter mindset right now? Leo is another one of them. Joker is also another one of them. Gamekeeper could be considered one of them, but it simply just depends. Spider as well, because she breaks pallet fast when she has stacks. She basically gets stacks and then brings someone down. That's how Spider plays. Same with Ripper, you can hit over the pallet and such and such and such and such more. Which is why Doctor is more part of team comp dependable. So like, you're in a team comp, if you want to body block, you can body block and then go heal and come back body blocking again. But like, once again, that's only under the condition that you manage to body block. Because like, even with body blocking, sometimes the hunter can still hit the survivor, right? So there's that as well. Next on the tier list will be Thief. Thief will be a part of solo ranking. Thief is a part of solo ranking because he doesn't have that much support. He can't really assist as much, let's say. Because if you think about this properly, right, Thief basically counters chip hunters the most with his flashlight, because chip hunters has no chase speed. Which is why Thief versus Chase Hunter is good for you. But Thief versus Fast Chase Hunter, for example, the likes of Geisha, the likes of Naya, the likes of Woo Woo, the likes of Gamekeeper, Joker, well, maybe not Joker, but like Gamekeeper, Violetta, Ripper may also count, it just depends, I guess, but I don't think Ripper counts. Reptilian, there's also Hermit, there's also Undead, there's also like Night Watch, and such and such and such more. But like, overall, he can still assist. He does have a mini assist when it comes to, you know, maybe Rebound Kite, but that's about it, to be honest with you. That's about ish, because like, as long as it's a fast chase hunter, even if the survivor pulls away, you're gonna have to be near the hunter to like stun them or like nullify them, right? Therefore, even if they pull far away and but then you made a single mistake, oh no, I didn't manage to lock his skills, oh, you're just gonna dash towards your survivor immediately who is chaired, so there goes that, and you waste a lot of time as well, let's say, trying to harass with instead of decoding. Right, so there's also that as well for Thief, but Thief overall having one flashlight that can last for at least 60 seconds if you just hold it there, if I'm not wrong. Well, let's I think it's 40 to 60 seconds. It's definitely more than 40 seconds. Let's say 45 to 60 seconds. And then he also has 3 flashlights that he can place on the ground to, like, you know, stun hunters and blind hunters. So you know, for his solo containment, very good with the 3 flashlights can be placed between pallets or windows, and then his own flashlight can be used in an open area in which hunter doesn't basically have anything to use. Now you may say, yeah, sure, hunter can just look back and use impulsive charge attack hit you. Well, that may be true. A lot of Thief mains do bring flywheels, so it's really up to you yourself on how you play Thief, but he is still a part of solo ranking up there. His containment is pretty darn strong. Next on the tier list, I will be having Gardener. Gardener is also going to be a part of team comp dependence. Gardener, her main utility is her toolbox, and her main item for containment is her bubble. Her bubble, she basically has a 50-second bubble. I'm not going to explain more than that early game. You can basically almost guarantee a 60-second kite unless you do something very dumb, especially with area selection mode now as well. The fact that you can choose where you spawn is going to be very strong for Gardener, considering the fact that she does have a 50-second bubble. So even if you do mess up early game and give a free hit, that's no problem at all. You're still at max health. So like, what you gonna do? What is the hunter gonna do? really. Unless it's a chip hunter, then maybe, yeah. But like, Gardener can still contain at least bare minimum 60 seconds. But why am I saying it's no more than team comp? It's because of her... It's also because of her bubble and her toolkit. Her bubble is like solo use only for herself, sometimes for body blocking, let's say. But then once again, it's still only a 60-second containment. Best is what I would say for a Gardener's containment, right? 60 seconds at most, or even blink time at most. For Gardener's support to come out, Gardener's toolkit basically helps you dismantle one chair, and after dismantling one chair, you have a 10-second cooldown. When you dismantle a chair and the hunter fixes his chair, if the hunter chairs the survivor on the chair you broke, the survivor can sit on the chair for 10% extra time. So instead of 60 seconds, it's 66 seconds. So imagine you're chairing a mercenary on towards the chair, and then you as a gardener, you broke the chair, and then Hunter fixes his chair, and Hunter chairs the mercenary on the broken chair that she fixes. Now mercenary has like a 20% or 30% extra chair time because of that 10% extra that you've done for him. That's pretty strong, isn't it? That's a mini assist there. But it's only... You can only do that when it's in a 4-man team, or let's say 3-man team, or let's say 2-man team where your teammates is being chased. Because randoms, once again, you cannot trust them. You cannot trust randoms. Even when you play Gardener yourself, you can't trust your randoms. So why would your randoms trust you? Trust a Gardener main, let's be fully honest with ourselves. But once again, her kit isn't bad. Her kit isn't bad. We see her played a lot in IVLs, but in rank, this is a rank tier list, she's still a part of Team Comp dependent. So yeah, there you go for that. Next on the tier list will be Lawyer. Sugu, if you're watching this, he's niche now. He's better than Composer. Yeah, Lawyer is part of niche now because of his recent buff. His recent buff is per each new window or pallet he vaults, he gains a 1.5% movement vaulting speed buff, and per each 80 meters he runs, he gains a 0.6% or 0.8% movement speed buff, if I'm not wrong. Now, why is this good for Lawyer? Reason number one, Lawyer has a map. Right? Lawyer has the map in which it means he can see the hunter's location at all times. Reason number two, area selection mode is now in Griffin/Unicorn, which means Lawyer already knows where Hunter spawns. So Lawyer can just look at map and see if Hunter's gonna run towards him. If Hunter runs towards him, he can immediately make a move on pulling as much distance as possible. Right? So like imagine Lawyer spawns middle and the Hunter just spawns very closely towards Lawyer. All what Lawyer has to do is to pull a lot of distance early game. He knows that the Hunter spawns near him anyways, so like he can at least get like that 1/2% movement speed boost before the Hunter even catches up to him. And you also need to include the fact that he also vaults windows slash pallets faster. He also will bring muscle memory if he brings flywheel, but if they bring knee-jerk reflex as well, that's also really good because muscle memory is still a part of it. If we think about it, muscle memory is 15%. The max vault buff that Lawyer can get is 12%. 27% vault buff, you are not gonna get terror shocked, right? And it's also the fact that Lawyer can't get terror shocked. So Lawyer can't get terror shocked. Lawyer can get up to a maximum of 27% vaulting speed buff. Lawyer can also get a maximum of 5% movement speed buff. If the Hunter doesn't chase after Lawyer, Lawyer can slowly but surely stack up decoding progress up to 20%. Right? It may be a little bit slow, but it's still better than Composer. It's still better than Composer. We'll talk about Composer later, but for now, it's all about Lawyer. It's also the fact that Lawyer can see where the Hunter is at all times. They also buffed Lawyer so that whenever he opens a map, it consumes 5%. And per each whenever he opens a map, instead of 5% consumed, it'll be 4% of the map consumed. Right? That's pretty good. That's honestly speaking pretty good. You can't really say that's not bad. That's not a bad buff. Because like Hunter can now look at Hunter for a second extra. Well, is that bad? No. But like, if you're gonna keep tapping map at all times, you can at least gain like one extra tap because of that buff. You know, you can at least get one extra tap because of that buff. So for Lawyer right now, he's not only a strong decoder, he's also a strong kiter, including the fact that area selection mode is now a thing. Lawyer can basically choose where he spawns and either pull distance immediately or just immediately start decoding, depending on if the Hunter chases after him or not. But yeah, Lawyer will be a part of niche for now. I'm not going to put him on meta just yet because of the fact that because of the fact that I kind of do need more information. So we'll see for season 29 how good Lawyer is. But for me, personal solo ranking as of now, playing Lawyer is genuinely, God genuinely blessed me. God has blessed me so much. IDV Gods has blessed me playing Lawyer, Lamal. Oh, but anyways, moving on towards the next character. Next character will be Magician. Magician will be a part of solo ranking as well. Now, why is Magician a part of solo ranking, you may ask? Well, that's simply because of the fact that Magician has 3 wands to use. We all know this as well. Magician is usually paired up with Flywheel a lot. Sometimes you can use Knee-Jerk Reflex if you want to. But per each wand used, Magician can get a 50% movement speed boost for 1 second. That may not seem like a lot, but it is kind of a lot, isn't it? Because you can use these ones in between pallets, right? You use these ones in between pallets. You don't need to put down a pallet. You can just use the one in between the pallet. The hunter is forced to hit the illusion, and you can basically still pull distance during the time that the hunter is attack recovering, right? And it's also the fact that you can use a Magician's wand very similar to a Perfume, but the difference really is that there is still a chance for the hunter to hit you if you put the wand out, but it's really up to your own, you know, skill set and solo containment and efficiency, proficiency, let's say, with Magician himself. If you pair Flywheel up with Magician, you use one wand, you Flywheel. Like, one wand is 10-second cooldown. You use one wand, you have 1 second invisibility. I think you have 2 second invisibility if I'm not wrong. Or is it 1 second? 1/2 seconds invisibility. So that means Hunter doesn't know where you are for 1/2 seconds. What does that mean? That means you, by technicality, only have 9/8 seconds cooldown. And then you also gain that 50% movement speed boost. What does that also technically mean once again? If you have a 50% movement speed boost, you move faster than Hunter, which means you basically get a free 1/2 second kite. So in reality, you only have like a 6 second cooldown. 6/7 second cooldown on a wand. Right, and then you have also Flywheel, so if you really do mess up, Flywheel's there to help you. Flywheel is really there to help you. And compared to a Perfumer, at least for Magician, even if he fails one wand, the other 2 wand is still useful. The other 2 wand is still very useful. So there you go for that. His solo containment is good. He doesn't have that much assist except for maybe using a wand to body block for survivors. But aside from that, not really much. He also has this chair buff in which, you know, he gains an illusion. Like, he basically goes invisible 1 second after being rescued. That's great and all, but it only occurs once, so that's not too bad for the hunters, I guess. If you have nostalgia, everything should be fine. That's kind of a way to counter Magician as well, in my opinion. But, you know, Magician, yeah, that's kind of why I see Magician as a solo ranker. Next on the tier list will be Explorer. Explorer will be moving up a tier for me. Now, why am I moving Explorer up a tier? Now, you guys may know Explorer is the type of survivor that mainly relies on hiding, of course. Also with the fact that, you know, area selection mode is now available in Griffin. This means that you can not only use him as a solo ranking, but also as a 4-man team ranking. Yes, there may be the problem with, you know, oh, well, I need to find Explorer early game, and if I don't choose my spawns well, then, like, I won't be able to see Explorer anymore. Yes, that is very true, which is why I'm putting him up on our solo ranking. Explorer may not always spawn in the strongest containment area. Explorer may just spawn somewhere very weird, and you may just never find him early game. And there's also this one thing I realized about high tier Explorers, and that's the fact that they get their pages to 49%, because when they dig out full page, it alerts the hunter, right? So what they do is, they dig up 49% page, and then after that, they leave the 1% there, they go decode a cipher machine themselves, and when a hunter has downed the survivor and chaired the survivor, they'll use maybe 30% of the page to finish the cipher machine, and then they'll pick up the 1% page. The 1% page will, like, basically notify the hunter where the Explorer is, but by that time that happens, all the Explorer needs to do is to go find the other 2 pages, which is full 100%. And, like, first page is 27 seconds, second page is 24 seconds, third page is 20 seconds. So for a 100% page, it's like 44 seconds only to get it. But, like, also at the same time, you need to consider how far he has to travel. Let's say maybe he has to travel 25 seconds. So, like, 44 plus 25 seconds, like 69 seconds to finish one full cipher mission. That's great. Why, you may ask, that is great? Well, reason number 1 being the fact that the rescuer can basically just rescue again. Even if he gets instant down, that's no problem. Explorer has page, 100% page, you can open the cipher machine. Done. right? There's also this other thing that I realized about Explorer is the fact that even when there's 3 full ciphers remaining, because of Explorer's existence, that means the Rescuer does not ever need to decode. Like, the only time maybe the Rescuer decodes is if the Survivor is decoding near him, so 2 of them decodes 1 cipher mission and Explorer gets the rest of the 100% page and you're done. And you're basically done by that point. And also with the fact that for Explorer early game, you know, you can pull distance or maybe you can hide, depends on you. But if you really do get found, you're most likely going to get sold. And even if you do get found, you're not going to get found that early into the game because you're hiding, right? Because like area selection mode or not, as long as you mind game the hunter properly, like you're not always going to, let's be honest with ourselves, right? You're not always going to spawn in very strong containment areas. Even if you do spawn in strong containment areas, you probably can contain there for at least 60 seconds / blink time. Right? If you don't spawn in very strong containment areas, Hunter probably will not be able to find you because you're not in a really good area and you can pull distance immediately and hide your footprints immediately, right? So like for Explorer, there's so much props to him now. I'm gonna pull him up from Tie Guarantee to Solo Ranker. He definitely does help out a lot. Now the next on the tier list will be Mercenary. Mercenary will be word with help me tier list. I don't need to explain this. Basically just S tier, meta tier. I can't go, you know, I'll explain a little bit more since I didn't do it for the past 2 seasons. Reason number 1, elbow pads. One elbow pad can give you so much distance closely towards the chair and it can also help you contain. Reason number 2, even if the hunter comes out to you to hit you, right? Even if it's a geisha comes out to hit you, you elbow pad towards the chair. Maybe some, like on the odd time, geisha may be able to catch up to you. That's on the very odd times, but 90%, I would give you 95% of the time you would be able to get towards the chair without getting hit. Because all you do, play a little mind game, stay a little bit near wall. Hunter's afraid to get a little bit close to you because if you elbow pad away in succession, it's a no damage rescue. So you can just basically come into rescue one more time and still have half health. Did you all played? But on the odd occasion, if you really do get hit outside of chair range, then it's no problem. You can still get the rescue as long as you don't get terror shocked, right? Like if you as long as you don't get terror shocked, it's fine. So like get a normal hit, elbow pad in, and then even if you get another normal hit, it's fine. You basically have a 15-second tie time, do your normal rescue, GG well played, good luck, have fun. And it's also with the fact that mercenaries can tank terror shock, even with chair terror shocks. GG well played. You know what can the hunter do? Nothing. The hunter can't do shite. Can't do shite to you, right? A single hit hunter, geisha, knight, pew, hits you. You got terror shock. Well, what am I gonna do? I'm still gonna rescue because fuck you. I have an iron head. I have a helmet on me. Well, I have an iron cloak on me. Says the mercenary. So like, it's really just hunters. It's just really just mercenary laughing at the hunter. Be like, ah, you think terror shock's gonna matter? So yeah, there you go for that. Also, very strong containment ability, map pressure ability. Like Mercy has map pressure because he can immediately go from one area to another ASAP, right? And makes rescuing easily. So yeah, there you go for that. No more, no less. Am I gonna say? Next on the tier list will be Priestess. Well, for Priestess, it's kind of self-explanatory. One portal. Like, portals can not only assist on helping survivors, Kai, it can also assist on helping you, Kai. Long portals, we don't need to explain. Big maps from one area to another, oh my god, I'm gonna start crying. But even if it's a small map and you're a fast chase hunter, Priestess can heal survivors up so fast that by the time you reach a survivor and you're around 20 meters away, they're already healed up. So we will both, like, we can both cry together as hunter mains. Woo! So like Priestess is buff, being able to heal survivors 5% faster. Well, there you go, GG well played, good luck, have fun. And also most Priestess bring the persona of healing survivor 25% faster. Stack those two together, 30% healing speed. Whoa! What are we gonna do? Nothing. Even if it's a small map, right? Unless they make like a 50-meter long portal, that's their fault. Not your fault, their fault. Their fault. It's the Priestess's fault. It's basically the Priestess is on your team's fault. Right, but like in a nutshell, usually it's from one corner to another corner. Even if it's a small map, it's still very good. It's still very good for Priestess, to be honest, which is that long portal is annoying. But like short portal, like normal portals on small maps may be a little bit harder to do. For example, in Factory. But like if you think about it, where in Liu you can do it in 2 stories, and in Shack, in like Red Church, you can do it in Hot. You basically Church is so strong for Priestess. Everyone spawns in the middle there. What else small map is there? I wonder. There's not that much. Like Sacred Hearts Hospital, having Priestess in there is basically looking for death. You're basically looking for death if you don't ban Priestess there, in a nutshell. And then like any other small maps, I don't remember, but yeah, the rest are more or less big maps. So yeah, we can all cry together. We can all really cry together. Moving on, next will be Coordinator. Coordinator will also be a part of Solo Ranker. I'm gonna put Coordinator maybe above. No, I'm gonna put Coordinator below Thief, and I'm gonna put Coordinator below Thief. Oh, now why is that? Well, in a perfect world scenario, you would like to run Coordinator with a container with a, like Kaider's persona, but that's only in a perfect world, right? You could run Tie Turner and still contain, because with that one gun you can at least guarantee your 60-second Kai, but like Hunter most likely is gonna bring excitement to come after you, so yeah, there's also that as well. For Coordinator, she did recently get a really good buff in which every 40 seconds, if I'm not wrong, when she runs closely towards a pallet or window, she gains like 15% movement speed boost. Well, no, 15% vaulting speed boost and 20% movement speed boost, if I'm not wrong. That 20% movement speed boost will help you get through a pallet and not get hit over the pallet. It will. I've been playing Coordinator. It works. It genuinely works. And I'm in Griffin and the season just recently started. If it works for me, it will work for you. And I'm not even a Survivor player. Right? But she's still very low. She's still very low right down there because she still gets countered by excitement. So yeah. Even with the newer adjustment as well, from 30% decoding debuff when Survivor is chased to 25%. It's nice, but like Cody doesn't have decoding debuff early game at all if she doesn't get chased, so she can still decode a Cypher machine pretty darn fast. And she's kind of a guarantee rescue type Survivor. While you gun the Hunter when you go into rescue, GG well play, good luck, have fun, what the hell are they gonna do? You know, what are they gonna do? Like, you gun them, they're stunned for like 4 or 5 seconds, and you're telling me you can't get the rescue. That's bullcrap. That's dog water. By that point, that's dog water. By that point, that's just dog water, and you're just bad. Lol, sorry, but like, yeah, Coordinator is still a part. Coordinator is gonna be Solo Ranker for me. Still a part of Solo ranking. No change, no more, no less. Now the next on the tier list will be Cowboy. Cowboy will still be a part of the Solo Ranker community. Cowboy, but just by himself, lassoing ciphers / pallets basically allows him to contain against, you know, fast chase hunters. Right, because like the hunter fast chase towards you, lasso towards the pallet, GG well play, good luck, have fun. You're in towards the next pallet area. You tie someone, oh you use all the pallet, no problem. Just rotate out, flywheel, rotate out, and then lasso towards the nearby pallet / window, go contain there, GG well play, good luck, have fun. So like for Cowboy, very good container against chip hunters, but also a decent enough container against, you know, fast chase hunters. So let's say maybe Reptilian, Woo Woo, Geisha, BQ. Well, BQ depends on, you know, the locations and such. But like once again, really nice container, really nice container overall. His support is pretty darn good as well. So like, if it's a female survivor on chair, he can basically hold on the female survivor and tank the hit for the female survivor who's on chair. Sometimes that can get your Cypher machine done in 4-man endgame. Sometimes. But most of the times what Cowboy mains do is their survivors goes towards a corner and Cowboy starts lassoing the survivors when they get balloon picked up. Well, of course you may say, well, Giant Claw basically counters Cowboy. To my response, yes. But for your main use as Cowboy, you want the stall time. Your job there is not to really get the balloon rescue, but the stall time. Stall maybe 10-20 seconds, right? 10-20 seconds is like 20-30% Cypher machine progress. That's a good amount of Cypher machine progress if you can stall 10-30 seconds, you know, and if your survivor downs at a really good area. Sometimes you can definitely get the balloon rescue. Well, I would say most of the time you get the balloon rescue, because if the survivor do decide to bring fast struggle, then GG well played. Even with Giant Claw, it's kind of, you know, even if you did bring Giant Claw, it's like, it isn't gonna work as well. So yeah, there's that for Cowboy. Cowboy has a decoding debuff when he decodes with male survivors, and a 10% decoding buff when he decodes with female survivors. But also at the same time, his inner trait basically means that he's a 10% decoding debuff anyways. So, you know, he's kind of like, you know, your average harasser. let's say, who has that 10% decoding debuff. Well, at first it may not seem like a lot, but you know, well, I mean, to be fair, it isn't really a lot if you can compensate it with like harassing for 10-20 seconds for free in a nutshell, at a very safe area as well. And also, like, even if a hunter comes to you, what you can do is you can lasso the hunter. If the hunter is far away enough from the survivor, you can lasso the hunter, and then they miss their hit, and then you immediately 9-second cooldown lasso. They need to walk back to pick up the survivor. Sometimes you can even buy more time like that. It really just depends on where the survivor ends. But like, he's a decent solo container, decent enough harasser, let's say, and just overall good for solo ranking. I wouldn't really put on a niche, but overall good for ranking. Overall good for ranking. Now the next on the tier list is Mechanic. I will still put Mechanic on niche. Mechanic is not going to change much for me. It's also including the fact that area selection mode is now in Griffin. So Mech can basically spawn in really good containment. Well, what I would say is you get Mech to spawn near good containment areas, allow her to put the doll down and like allow her to pull the doll down and make distance. Even if the hunter hits the doll, Mech is already so far away. So that's basically a free 20-second containment by the time that hunter catches up towards Mech. And by the time that the Mech's doll get hit, Mech can put down another doll. You still have half a doll left, right? And like, while you're pulling distance there as well, it's basically GG well played, because like hunter has wasted already so much time just to try and find you. On the exception that it's a Dream Witch, let's say. On the exception that it's a Dream Witch. But overall, still very good container. Well, no, still very good decoder. Because like, if your survivor contains well early game and you're not being chased, you basically can decode 2 Cypher Machine at the same time. You yourself decoding 110% and the doll decoding 100%. Did you well play, good luck, have fun? What can we say about that? Right? But then like, if your survivor gets hit early game, you can just use the doll to decode, use your doll as a primary decoding and use yourself as a secondary decoding. So basically, by the time that your doll is finished a Cypher Machine, it'll be 1 Cypher Machine and maybe 1.5 Cypher Machine, because A, you're decoding, and B, the doll's decoding. And like, Mech has a 40% decoding debuff if I'm not wrong. Like 30, like, yeah, it should be 40% decoding debuff when someone gets hit. Or is it 30%? I'm not too sure. 30 to 40%. So like, with that, with your decoding 2 simultaneously, you finish 1.5 ciphers, right? If you sell the survivor, great. If you don't sell the survivor, well, it is what it is. You still bought enough time for Tide Turner, and like, you're only missing 1 full cipher by the time that has happened. So what do I mean? Your survivor is being chased, you're decoding with a doll, so the doll decoding 1 cipher, you decoding half a cipher, that's 1.5 cipher. Merc finishes the cipher, that's 2 ciphers, and then the other container slash supporter finished their cipher. So you basically have 2.5 cipher machine now. You're only missing 1 full cipher machine left, 1.5 cipher machine left. That's still really a guaranteed tie for you. But also at the same time, with area selection mode, even if the hunter doesn't chase after you first, the chances of the survivor containing for at least 30 seconds before they get hit is pretty darn high. Right? Except for early season maybe, because early season is now really shocking. Really shocking early season right now. But we'll just have to see how it goes for early season. But for like mid to late season, it's still good. It is, genuinely speaking, still good. So yeah, there goes that for Mech. Mech's solo containment isn't too good, I guess, but like with muscle memory as a persona web, she doesn't really have that decoding, and she doesn't have that vault debuff, so that's also a props to her, let's say, with the whole, you know, being able to contain a little bit better. But like, Mech's main use really is to like at least contain 60 seconds. If she doesn't, she can just use her own doll to decode a cipher machine and get the rescuer to sell her. That's really Mech's way of doing things, let's say. But would she be better than Lawyer? I don't know. But because of my indecisiveness, I'm gonna say that Mech is better than Lawyer. For now. Well then, hi! Next on the tier list will be Forward. I initially placed Forward on Niche, but during the edit, I realized I was saying a lot about, you know, Griffins, area selection mode. Therefore, I am going to put Forward on Help Me. Why is Forward back now? Just hold on your horses and listen to me real quick. First and foremost, Forward was niche during rank because A, his ball usage got reduced, right? And then B, it's because it's random area selection, so you may not always spawn near your survivors to support for them. But now, since area selection mode is in Griffin and in Unicorn, I decided to put Forward back onto Help Me. Forward will be back into meta right now. Why, you may ask? Well, Forward is most effective in 4-man teams, but Forward is also most effective in 2-man teams as well, in which you know where you spawn. Now, for Griffin and Unicorns, as we do all know as well, sometimes our teammates may not contain as well as we expect them to contain. Therefore, for being at middle, being able to pick a spawn, being able to spawn in middle, the chances of the hunter chasing after you is relatively low because A, you vault fast, and B, you have balls to contain with to go behind pallets or near windows, just so you can pull distance away from hunters. Now, forward will move up from niche to help me because of these reasonings as well. Now then, in your typical Griffin / Unicorn, if you're in a 4-man team, brilliant! Not only are you in a 4-man team, you also have area selection mode. So what does this mean for you? This means you can support your teammates regardless, and your teammates can spawn very closely towards you. So for a perfect example, let's choose Red Church. So you spawn in the middle of church, so one survivor spawns in shack, the other spawns near graveyard, and the other spawns near, maybe, let's say, near the breakable windows at the left hand side of church, or they can spawn in red carpet. What happens now is, if your survivor needs help, you can immediately rotate towards them knowing where they are, because A, you know where they spawn, so you immediately know where the survivors are. B, you're directly spawned in middle, which means you can just immediately start decoding early game, and if they need help, you can get towards them ASAP. And then C, if you're in a 4-man team, whether you are in a 4-man team or not, you know where they spawn, so you know where they are at all time, which kind of basically just reinforces point A and point B, which is why I'm putting forward a little bit higher on towards help me right now. Because like in current day meta as well, forward does counter fast chase type hunters, right? So like, you know, Geisha, you know, Woo Woo, you know, Naiad, you know, Reptilian, you know, and then so much more. Right, which is, and like, the only con of forward is he decodes 20% slower, which is very annoying. So most of the time when you're playing forward, you can probably only decode around 50% before you go and Mikai harass. But during the Mikai harass, you can buy like so much time, right? Forward is so flexible with his balls. You can do such tight, sharp turns. You can use as much balls as you want. There is a different, you can use short stuns, in which you basically allow your survivors to rotate between the nearest pallet / windows for them to take the window pallet speed boost, or just for them to put down the pallets. Your second option is to pull a long ball, in which it may be a little bit harder, but if you manage to stun the hunter, it'll be like a 4 to 6 second stun, let's say. If you use half a ball, it's like a 4 to 6 second stun. At least, right? At least 4 to 6 second stun, unless they have rage or something, but it still should be at least 4 to 6 second stun, in which this amount of distance basically allows your survivor to rotate towards the nearest pallet / window area for them to contain even longer. And meanwhile, you're there, you're able to give small balls assist to allow your survivors to contain even longer. Which is why, like, for forward, his Mikai harass is very strong. Yes, you may say mischievous counters forward, but mischievous really only counters forward against, you know, chip hunters like, well, let's put undead in as well, but like chip hunters such as Galatia, such as sculptors, and such as Bonbon, such as Naiad, such as Axeboy. Sometimes Axeboy, it depends on the Axeboy skill set and your skill set yourself. And who else is there? Let me think. Who else is a chip hunter? Well, Mad Eyes is just Mad Eyes. He's kind of hard overall. But like, you also have who else gets countered really hard? Let me think. I can't think of any more, but I think that's about it for the chip hunter side. So like, yeah, for forward, he does counter quite a lot of current day meta hunters, which is basically fast chase and all. If you're gonna say Dream Witch, I would say, yeah, of course Dream Witch counters forward, but also at the same time, you can make high harass against the Dream Witch if the Dream Witch bites the patroller, or you can just stun the main follower who plays down the patroller, just so you can cancel the patroller there as well. But like, the pros of forward, really good Kai, really good harass. The only con is 20% decoding debuff. That's really the con. That's it. And he also vaults windows / pallets really fast as well. If I'm not wrong, he puts down pallets fast as well, right? Mark me if I'm wrong at that, but yeah, forward is going to be moving up towards help me tier list. Now the next on the tier will be TME. TME will be a part of tie guarantee for me this season instead of team comp dependence. First reason really is because of the fact that you can use her to get towards, you know, champion / unicorn now because of area selection mode in Griffin. As I said early on in the video as well, because area selection mode is now tier 5 and tier 6, it kind of does change it up quite a little. If you really want to, you can definitely play TME from Griffin onwards. Spawn yourself in a very strong containment area and just contain for 60 odd seconds. Sometimes you can even contain for a little bit longer, but that really just depends on you and how you contain, how you pull distance. Most TME mains knows how to do it, even counter fast chase hunters like Knight and Geisha, but that really depends on you at the end of the day once again. So once again for TME herself, yes, she does have a vaulting debuff, but because of muscle memory it kind of makes it a little bit easier for TME to vault, let's say, but she still has that debuff. Because TME is blind, quote unquote blind, even though, you know, by lore she is, but like by gameplay she really isn't, because you kind of can still see the hunter from far away. But overall for TME early game, if you want to know who the hunter is, you can immediately smash your king on towards the ground and see who the hunter is and whether you need to pull distance or tie kai. For those of you who are like, oh no, you shouldn't really smash your king, like tap your king early on in the game, it doesn't really matter if there's area selection mode in Griffin / unicorn now, so you might as well do it early on instead of saving it. Know who you're going up. It's better to know who you're going up against than going against the unknown and pulling distance, not knowing where they are. Right? Sorry, throat problem. But yeah, that's honestly that for TME. TME's decoding is really good. Sometimes you can spawn in really odd areas, but once again, it's really risky. So most people prefer, you know, spawning TME in like either close to very strong containment area or just in the strong containment area. Once again, it really just depends on TME as a whole. Now, next on the tier list will be Perfumer. Perfumer will also be a part of niche. Perfumer will be basically, I always put her below Lawyer. Perfumer has 3 perfumes after the buff. It's reduced from cooldown from 10 seconds to 9 seconds, which is basically really strong. You need to think about this, right? You use a perfume, you get hit. Hunter has a either 2/3 second attack recovery animation. Let's say you maximize 1.5 second of that, you have 7.5 seconds to contain for free. You have 1.5 seconds to contain for free, so in realistically you only need to contain for 7.5 seconds. But also realize that you can pull distance during the time that they basically attack recover, right? It's a little bit different from Magician, because for Magician it's basically missing an attack hit. That's that for them, so it's like 0.5 seconds. But for normal Hunter, your attack recovery after you hit someone is like 2 seconds/3 seconds. Right, so that still allows like the Perfumer to pull a little bit of distance there as well. So let's just say, you know, Perfumer gets a free 3 second containment, and you basically need to contain for run around for 6 seconds towards the nearest pallet/window, put the pallet down, vault the window, get a speed boost, etc., or use flywheel to contain for a little bit longer. Of course, does Perfumer need more skill than Magician? Definitely yes, but once again, maybe for fast hit animation Hunters it's a little bit harder to do, but for slow hit animations like a night, like let's say, let me think, Woo for Hellenberg, for Joker, for Spider, for Gala, for Undead, for there's quite a lot of them. Nightwatch is fast. Sandra is also fast. Wax Artist, right? These type of hunters which have slow attack animation, it's still okay for you. Like there shouldn't be that much difficulty for you to use your perfume unless you don't look back. That's kind of a you problem, not a me problem. Okay, but Perfumer overall is still niche. She doesn't have any decoding debuff. She can contain very well. Her assist is basically body blocking, very similar to Doctor, let's say, but more reliable on Doctor, because at least Perfumer can still stay near closely towards the survivor compared to a Doctor who needs to run away and heal, is what I would like to say. But of course there may be counter arguments for that, but once again, is it better for you to stay near the survivor and keep body blocking while using perfume, or is it better for you to body block once to run away to save distance, heal, and then you need to take time to run back towards the survivor? Which one is better? It's really up to you for that, but I'd say Perfumer is overall just a bit better on that part. Now the next on the tier list will be Female Dancer. Female Dancer will also be a part of Niche. Now Female Dancer didn't really change throughout the... Like, Female Dancer did get a nerf with a slow music box stacking and such, but like, it's not really that significant to the point that you can really drop her a tier. For Female Dancer herself, she has very good solo containment. Why? Because you can put, you know, music boxes down early in between pallets and force the hunter to either break them and get a pallet stun, or break the pallet slowly and then break the slow music box slowly. And by the time they finish doing that, you're probably already quite a long way, quite far away from the hunters, right? Which is why I'm saying Female Dancer, you're either good at tyke hiding or you're either good at really long containments. Now those are your basic two options. If hunter doesn't break the slow music box, you basically get free containments for quite a bit of time. You genuinely do basically get a free containment for quite a bit of time. Female Dancer's inner trait, in a nutshell, dropping down from high places, getting movement speed boost, great. I don't know if she has any debuffs overall. I don't think she does have any debuffs overall. I generally don't think she's any debuffs overall, but I may be wrong on that part, so just mark me wrong. But like, having that drop down speed boost simply means that Female Dancer can run flywheel in big maps as well, right? So for example, in like Moonlit, in Chinatown, in Ever Sleeping Town, in Hospital, in Leo's, where there's so many two-story areas, those are really good for Female Dancer for her to bring, you know, flywheel. If you want to bring knee-jerk reflex, that's fine as well. But even in small maps like Leo's and Red Church, you can just put the slow music boxes, deploy them down in the middle. Even if you're not first chase, that's okay. Your survivors can rotate towards these areas and then contain for even longer, because you basically force a hunter to break these things, which means you buy at least 15 to 20 seconds extra time for your survivors to contain. Isn't that great? Even if it's a fast chase type hunter, to be honest with you, your attack animation being slowed down, a little bit unfortunate, because sometimes you can just dance away from those basic attacks. It simply depends on how well you play Female Dancer, but Female Dancer is still very good. Being able to stack the slow debuff is very nice as well. She, in a nutshell, doesn't have any decoding debuffs. If you're not first chase, you can stack your fast decoding, you can stack your fast music box to decode a little bit faster, but once again, it's dependable from person to person and their playstyle as well. But like for Female Dancer, since she has really good solo ranker ability, she has high containment ability, she also has really good, you know, supporting ability with a slow music box and the fast music box as well, in which slow music box basically helps you against every hunter. Fast music box help you against, you know, high movement hunters like Wheel, like, or even against slow moving hunters like Gala and Bonbon, because you move faster, you can dodge bombs and chips easier, etc, etc. So Female Dancer is still part of Niche. There's really no more no less I can say about it. My own personal opinion of her still hasn't changed. She's still the same compared to the last few seasons. Now the next on the tier list will be Seer. Seer will still be a part of the help me. Haha, help me. Still very strong. Griffin now, you don't need, like come on, let's be fully honest. They've given Griffin area selection modes for them to be able to contain a little bit better. He's strong, he's still very strong. Doesn't really change anything overall. Cause like, you can save Owl for after chair rescue, just in case they can't rebound kite. But if they can't rebound kite, you could give the Owl to the rescuer, so the rescuer can get a no damage rescue and you can sell them afterwards, right? Seer's main priority use is the Owl. He can also stack Owls pretty darn fast. A lot of Seer mains use Flywheel for tyke hiding to get at least one extra Owl. Like 99% of the time, when you run Flywheel Seer, you're going to be able to tyke hide, you're going to be able to get your Owl. It's going to be a definite no problem scenario, right? And so then, like, some Seers run window speed boost, which is fair if they want to make distance. That's their own playstyle there. But for Seer mainly, he relies on tyke hiding, looking at the hunter to get his second Owl. But if he's not first chase, then I guess it's fine. But if he is first chase, then yeah, there's that as well. Like, you may say, oh yeah, Seer gets countered by Gala, by Bonbon. By technicality, yes, but like Bonbon and Gala has been out for so long, if you still don't know how to like sidestep against their stuffs, once again, I think it's a you problem. I genuinely do think it's a you problem, Because like for Gala, just dodge your single statues. Like dodging homing face presence 2 statues, fair enough, I can't say much about that. But like single statues, if you can't dodge that now, that's kind of a you problem. And also for like Gala and Bonbon, for Gala mainly, right, Gala has this really bad thing, which is even if you get 1 chip, you can still take 2 normal hits as long as you just dodge the statues properly. And for Seer, even if you get 1 chip, that's no problem, you take a normal hit, and then you can owl the next hit, and then you can take another normal hit for blink, etc, etc. So like for Seer himself, even if you say oh, chip hunters counter Seer, realistically Bonbon, Gala questionable, but like Bonbon, yes, definitely Bonbon can definitely counter him, but that's his only 1 counter. That's really his only 1 counter, right? Like, and if Seer is not first chase, then you can either give the owl after the your survivor says help me, or you can give the owl to the rescuer for a no damage rescue so they can rescue again, or you can give the owl to the survivor who's on chair after they've been rescued, just so then they have a higher chance of rebound kiting to buy more time for you. So like Seer, because of this 1 owl, 1 extra tankish, it's basically a free body block. It buys you so much time. It sometimes tilts the hunters as well because they start panicking. They're like, oh no, they've kited after tie time. They're gonna get the cypher machines done, and they start panicking, which is why Seer is still very, 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 very good. Now the next on the tier list will be Embalmer. Embalmer will still be a part of tie guarantee because this is a ranked tier list. Once again, Embalmer is still a part of tie guarantee. Yes, you can win, but like it's kind of like Embalmer in a nutshell. You have no items to use to contain with. If it's a fast chase type hunter, you're gonna get down fast, and like it's like, let's compare Embalmer to Lucky Guy. Lucky Guy can have items, Embalmer has no items. So it's like saying, what are the chances of a no item survivor kiting longer than a survivor with at least 1 item? Close to none. Close to none. So usually when Embalmers are first chased, they either get down very fast, so then they self-rescue themselves, and then they can at least guarantee a tie. On the odd case scenario, they may be able to contain for a little bit longer, but even after that, it's still not enough. I genuinely do think that it's still not enough for you to get a win. Because like, let's say you contain 60 seconds, and then you get chaired, the rescuer comes once, gives you a 20-second free tie time, and then you embalm yourself. Fast chase type hunter really still is current day meta for hunter ranking as of now. So like, even if your coffin's far away, they can probably just make it towards the coffin within less than like 15 seconds. And like, you've invisibility for 8 seconds, so they can't really touch you anyways for 8 seconds, so like, you know, there's that as well. But overall for Embalmer, because he doesn't really have a debuff. If he rescues, he gains an extra coffin, which is great and all, but that's only under the occasion that he already coffined someone already. You cannot have 2 coffins on the field, you can only have 1 coffin on the field, and after you surrogate 1 survivor, you can't surrogate ever again. So yeah, there's also that issue there as well. But overall for Embalmer, still a very good tie guarantee survivor if you want to play, if you just want to go for a tie. But overall, what I will say is just play 2 decoders if you really want a tie guarantee by that point. Anyways, moving on. Now then, moving on, next will be Prospector. Prospector will most likely be around here on the tier list. Now, why is Prospector this high on niche? Well, first and foremost, Prospector has assist. Second of all, Prospector also has very strong containment. Even after Prospector's 6-second magnet cooldown, honestly, for your own solo containment, 6-second magnet cooldown doesn't really matter, because only bad Prospectors spam their magnets. In a nutshell, only bad Prospectors spam their magnets. Because you need to think about this as well, right? It's the moment you throw out the magnet that the magnet goes into 6-second cooldown, not the moment that the hunter picks up the magnet you go into a 6-second cooldown. So therefore it means that if you're quite a long way, if the hunter is like maybe 2-3 seconds away from you, you can throw the magnet at the hunter and it basically immediately goes into cooldown. And whether you want to push back or stun the hunter is like 1 second, right? Push the back the hunter is like another extra 2 seconds ball for you depending on how far you push it back. If you do the calculations, you throw the magnet out, the magnet's on the hunter for 2 seconds, you can stun the hunter for 1 second, and basically you can just run around free for 3 seconds, right? And that's basically that for Prospector. You don't have to spam magnets for Prospector unless you made a really big mistake, in which you basically shouldn't have done, in which, you know, by that point you kind of deserve the hit, because it's kind of like saying, oh, Perfumer, faulty perfume, you get a hit. Fair enough. Magician, faulty wand, you got a hit, fair enough. Same as Prospector, you miss your magnet. Well, it's kind of your own fault then, like, and you get a hit, that's kind of your own fault. But because of the 6-second added cooldown, now Prospector and Mings at the start of the match get one magnet and a 60% of another magnet. The rest of the 40%, you can definitely get that within 30 seconds of the game starting, if I'm not wrong. Like, let's say within 40 seconds of the game starting, like 30 to 40 seconds, you get your second magnet immediately. Now, if you can't contain until your second magnet is ready, that is also a you problem. But like overall for Prospector Mings, that 6 seconds isn't gonna matter much for you. It really isn't gonna matter much for you at all. So like, yeah, yeah, his soul containment is still very strong. You can at least still guarantee a 60-second kite and force blink out. That's still very good. That is honestly speaking very good. And like another side of Prospector is he gets calibrations more, but like it's easier for him to get perfect calibration, in which it boosts your Cypher machine by 1/2% depending on your tier. Now, what does this mean? This means he basically decodes Cypher machines a bit. He tends to decode Cypher machines a bit faster than any average survivor because of that perfect calibration that he gets for free, in a nutshell, right? But also, Prospector allows you to do balloon rescues. He can also do mid-kite harasses. Now, you may think, hey, Prospector's mid-kite harass isn't really gonna matter that much because it's reduced by 50% when the survivor is 15 meters near Prospector. Well, if you have seen pro tourney videos or in high tier, what most Prospector do is they throw the magnet out and they do a pretty much of a launch stun, right? So like, you pull the hunter back and the survivor's already running so far away, the 50% isn't really going to matter, right? It's still a full 4-second stun. It's not a 2-second stun, it's a full 4-second stun and the survivors can pull so far away. In a nutshell, that's what happens in high tier. Can you spam magnets? No, you can't, which means your balloon rescue, you need to throw down magnets early so it goes down into 6-second cooldown. But once again, as long as you throw the magnet early on the survivor who's down on the ground and the hunter picks it up, by that time that happens, you probably only have like a 3-second cooldown on magnet. And like, you're basically gonna play mind games with the hunter as well, like, oh, am I gonna stun you or am I gonna push you back? Is the hunter gonna put it down or not, etc, etc. There's a lot of room for mind games there for Prospector. So like, Prospector, his balloon rescue, yes, it may have gotten a little bit bad, but like, for Prospector's balloon rescue, if you manage to get the stun on the hunter, it's a guaranteed 3-second stun. There's no such thing as a 50% reduced stun duration if it's a balloon rescue. You can read the description yourself, I read it myself. It basically guarantees you a 3-second stun. So like, imagine you throw the magnet out early and it guarantees you a 3-second stun. By that time that happens, you can already put out your second magnet to push the hunter back. So like, for Prospector, at least you can still use 2 magnets when it comes to balloon rescue. Maybe not 3, but 2 is still very, very, very good. So yeah, that's that for Prosy. He also doesn't really have that much debuffs, if I'm not wrong. He doesn't have a healing. Does he have a, I don't think he has a healing debuff. But like, he also have a magnet buff. Sorry. He also has a magnet buff in which, like, if you go towards the nearest locker / Cypher machine, he gains a 50% movement speed boost for 2 to 3 seconds if I'm not wrong, with an 80-second cooldown. So like, his solo containment is very good. His harass is also good enough, like above average, or like you can say between average and above average. And then his decoding is overall very, very good as well. So yeah, Prospector is definitely a part of niche. Now the next on the tier list will be Enchantress. Enchantress will be very low a part of the solo ranker community. For Enchantress herself, she gains stacks very fast early game, but she doesn't have any items early game, so like, it's very important for Ench to pull distance early game. Now with area selection mode being available in Griffin, once again, this kind of ties very similar to Forward. You know where the hunter spawns. If the hunter comes and chases after you, you can just run away immediately. No problem at all. You can just run away immediately and then gain your first stack quite easily, if you wouldn't mind me saying so myself. Because as long as you have the distance, you can always gain stacks, and Ench gains stacks pretty darn easily, especially with the fact that she has quite a bit of a radius, quite a huge radius of course, when it comes to gaining stacks. Now then, why is Enchantress a part of solo ranker and why is she not lower? She's not lower simply because of the fact that A, high chase hunters, right? One mini stun allows you to pull a bit of distance. You may say, oh, one mini stun isn't going to buy me 5 seconds towards my, you know, next next curse. But like most Enchantress mains, they use that mini stun, they put the pallet down, and then they vault, and then they rotate a little bit, and then like after like by the time like you do a mini stun, okay, Hunter gets stunned for 1 second, you put down the pallet, Hunter has to break the pallet, and by the time the Hunter catches up to you, you have your next stun ready, right? You're already off cooldown, you have your next stun ready. GG, well played, good luck, have fun. It's also with the fact that now flywheel, you can running Ench with flywheel is kind of like saying Ench having an extra stun, right? But of course you may say, oh, there's a little bit of a risk factor to it, because what if I don't use my flywheel properly? Well, that's once again kind of a you problem. That's once again kind of a you problem. You don't necessarily have to use flywheel to, you know, block an attack. You can use flywheel to rotate towards the nearest patch/window area. That's really up to you there as well. But like overall for Ench, you should be able to get 2 stacks, right, before you down. It depends yourself whether you want to save for 3 stacks for a very long stun and try to rebound Kai, or you just want to use 1 stack at a time to contain for 60 seconds and guarantee blink down. That's really up to you yourself. For Enchantress, her containment is, let's say, between average to above average, and then her assist is not as good as Prospector because her stat gaining is reduced by 70% by, if I'm not wrong, 50% if she's near a survivor. So like for Ench, if there's a survivor nearby and she wants to support the survivor, she doesn't really get stuns as fast, which means her balloon rescue is kind of bad, and her mid-kai harass is also kind of bad if we compare to like Cowboy, Prospector and Forward. So like she has a mini assist, but it's not really that great, and I wouldn't really recommend it. Now on the other hand, for Enchantress Balloon Rescue, you can basically only do 1 stuns, so it's kind of like prisoner stuns, right? It's not really that long, and like you need to try body block it as well. If you don't body block it properly, there's no point in you being there, and kind of like just like you know, you're kind of wasting time decoding when you're only buying like 5 seconds, which isn't a lot, which basically isn't a lot, to be fair with you as well. So like overall for Enchantress, like decoding speed is just average, so I guess it's good, and then like your containment is from average to above average, which is fairly nice as well, alongside with solo ranking, and your assist is maybe a little bit below average, but not up from below average to average, let's say. It's not too bad. Now the next on the tier list will be Wildling. Wildling will be a part of replaceable once again, due to the fact that, you know, there are just so many other better options out there, you know, First Officer, Mercenary, Gravekeeper, Weeping Clown, Toy Merchant, Patience. Like, these are all very good rescuers, right? So like, why would you want to pick Wildling when you have Merc, when you have Forward, when you have First Officer, when you have Gravekeeper, when you have like Patient, Toy Merchant, Aeroplanist counts as one as well. Even, I would say, right, even Journalist would be better at rescuing compared to Wildling. Cause like there's just way too many better options compared to Wildling. Wildling has a 25% decoding debuff if I'm not wrong, but like also at the same time Wildling has another debuff in which if he's not on Mudo, he moves slower than your average survivor. So like for fast chase hunters, that's great. Cause like once you bait Wildling onto boar, it reduces from 50 seconds to 40 seconds to 30 seconds to 20 seconds, and respectively 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. So like for Mudo himself, you can't really harass as well if they bait you on, like, you know, getting on board. And also at the same time, Mischievous definitely does counter Wildling to a huge extent, because like for fast chase hunters, if you chase Mudo out of the range, they can really come back towards the survivor, right? And they can pick it up with Mischievous fast pickup, and even if you push the hunter back, they're not going to get balloon rescued. They're most likely going to get pushed back and they're allowed to struggle free. So like, yeah, there's that as well. But like, you need to also include the fact that Wildling has a 20% decoding debuff. Forward also has a 20% decoding debuff. The difference between the two is Wildling is mainly used to get closer towards the chair. That's his main use. So like, you know, kind of Dream Witch, let's say, and like Geisha, let's say. But like, overall, what's the point of you playing Wildling when there is Gravekeeper gets on shovel, basically tanks a free hit, and like Gravekeeper now counters chip hunters as well because they need to take 2 chips. right, for Gravekeeper Shovel to come out. Say similarly to First Officer, Hypnosis. You can't, they basically have to predict where you are, but even if you do get hit, you still get your 5-second tie turn if you get hit for a second time. Right, you have Toy Merchant, Fly on Air, Invisibility. You have Aeroplanist, same thing, Hover on Air, Invisibility. You have Journalist, who can basically double rescue and, you know, YOLO holo it. Right, you're just like YOLO holo it. What you gonna do about it? Right, maybe Journalist gets countered by Chip Hunters, but that doesn't mean Wildling doesn't get countered by Chip Hunters. How are you gonna balloon rescue against a Bonbon while you're on board when he's placing down bombs on the ground? Like, even a forward can't do it. How do you expect yourself as a Wildling to do it? Right? It's kind of like the same argument here. Now, I don't want to be too hard on Wildling, right? Wildling, yes, he's a very good rescuer, of course, going to chair, but like, aside from that, he's nothing. Meanwhile, all the other rescuers, oh, you have a first officer who can decode fast. Right, you have a first officer who can decode fast. You have a Gravekeeper who, even if he's forced to use shovel and the hunter changes target, at least he still has 2 shovels. Right, compared to Wildling, oh, you forced onto bore, and then next thing what happens is, oh, you've only 40-second bore now. What you gonna do? Can't really do much. Right, and like if you're being prevented out, if you're getting hit from very far out and you're walking, right, you walk slow, you get hit, and then the hunter dashes back immediately, you fail rescue. So you're kind of forced to go on board once again to go for the rescue. And when you use board to go for a rescue, yes, you can definitely get the rescue, but that does not mean you can harass anymore, which is yet another problem of Wildling. There's really not that much pros of Wildling. Right, back then he was very strong, of course, but now I think because of all the other buffs of, you know, the rescuers overall, there's just no more. Like, I would even dare to argue that Coordinator is better than Wildling by this point. You know, I would even dare to argue that Coordinator is better than Wildling at this point. But yeah, Wildling is highly replaceable because, you know, there's just way too many better options out there. Way too many better options. Acrobat will still be, but Acrobat is still niche overall. Still a very strong container is what I would like to say. To be fair, you know what? Yeah, Acrobat just strong. Like 4 balls early game. Well, 3 balls early game, and you get your 4th one with the fireball after 60 seconds containment. You could play Acrobat as, like, you know, a rescuer if you really want to, because he's pretty darn hard to chase as well. But most people actually bring flywheel with him. So then, like, you flywheel towards a window or a pallet, or you flywheel after, you know, the hunter misses his hits, and then you basically pull a ball and go towards somewhere a little bit safer. That's kind of Acrobat's whole spiel right there. But like, because of the fact that he has 3 items, and all 3 items is basically allowing you to vault over, you know, small obstacles like pallets, windows, chairs, just very low obstacles overall, it is pretty darn strong. Because if you consider, like, just as an example, think of Moonlit River Park, 1st stop and 4th stop, you can basically jump diagonally through the rails, which is why, you know, it's pretty darn strong in certain maps. But like, overall, he's still genuinely just a very good container as well. So for Acro, his containment ability, I would say, is above average. His rescue ability, well, I mean, he can reach towards the chair very similarly to Mercy, let's say, but only with 1 ball. So maybe his rescue is around decent enough. His decoding having no debuffs is fair. I think his only debuff is opening the exit gate. So like, if you're an Acrobat at half health and you're priming the cipher and you need to open the exit gate later on, that may end you up as a lose sometimes, but like, it just simply depends on how long the survivors can contain late game after all. But overall for Acrobat, still niche, still pretty darn niche, very good solo container. Next on the tier list will be First Officer. So First Officer will be considered a pretty darn strong rescuer as well. For a First Officer, you may say, oh, to counter him, really play Chip Hunter, like Bonbon, go out to find him and then like stall his rescues. On one occasion, yes, but most First Officers, well, I mean, all First Officers know how to counter this, and that is by the fact that the moment your survivor gets down immediately, you rush towards the chair and you start giving tinnitus. So then, like, the hunter doesn't know where you're coming from, and then when you're about to go into rescue, your first Poseidon watch is quite a it's quite a big range, right? I think your first Poseidon watch is a little bit shorter than tinnitus's range, so you should be able to land your first Poseidon watch at least, and then slowly make your way towards the chair. For for First Officer himself, his decoding is meh. He does have a 20% decoding debuff, but with each pocket watch used, you basically get 7% of it back, and with a maximum stack of 14%. And then with endgame, alongside with accelerated decoding, First Officer basically just has no decoding debuff, and it's also including the fact that First Officer is also very similar to a Mercenary, in which if he gets hit during watch time, he basically gets a 5-second tie turner. That is OP. That is genuinely speaking OP, because like sometimes you don't even necessarily have to, you know, be fully healed just to go into rescue. That's why for me that's pretty darn OP as well. But like overall, First Officer, you can think of him as like a secondary Mercenary to a certain extent, because of the fact that not only is his containment ability really good, just maybe a little bit worse than Mercy. I could argue that First Officer's containment is better than Mercy, because if you get all your pocket watches, you can basically stall 20 seconds for free, compared to like Mercy with the elbow pad down and his 30-second mini tie turner for himself. But like overall for First Officer, still a very decent rescuer. If you want to counter him, it's going to be really hard, because First Officers know how to counter certain hunters after all. Oh, by the way, sorry for the coughs. It's not something I can how do I say, get it off for some odd reason. I don't know why I'm coughing as well. But anyways, moving on, next will be Barmaid. Barmaid would also be a part of niche. Barmaid is pretty darn strong. Barmaid is genuinely speaking pretty darn strong, considering the fact that current day meta, it's all about the base. I'm joking. It's all about single hit, fast hit hunters. For Barmaid herself, being able to drink a Wildling and utilizing either her speed boost Wildling, or depending on the persona, flywheel or Windows speed boost, Barmaid 90% of the time should be able to get their healing up right before they get the next hit. Right? The one way to counter Barmaid is to chase her like 50 seconds in towards the game until your blink is almost ready. Get a hit on Barmaid, and if you're a fast chase hunter, chase up to her and then blink the Barmaid down. But by the time that happens, you've already given the survivor 60 seconds free containment, so that's at least, you know, 2.5 ciphers done by the time that the rescuer finishes rescuing you. And then like after that, you can just sell the Barmaid, right, if Barmaid is really a first chase. So like Barmaid solo containment, you could give her maybe a little bit closely towards above average, but also with the fact that she can give Wildling towards most of the survivors except for the survivors under 18, like Cheerleader, TME, Little Girl, and who again? And Coordinator. I don't think I'm missing anyone else, but yeah, those are the main 4 that basically can take the Barmaid Wildling, which is fine. But of course, there comes with a debuff, which is a 3% decoding debuff, if I am not wrong. But in all honesty, 3% decoding debuff in exchange for 30 seconds of decoding is pretty darn nice. Well, 15 seconds of decoding is pretty darn nice. You can just keep Cypher rushing mid to end game, especially with the fact that if you feed a Wildling to either your rescuers, then it simply means that your rescuers doesn't need to be healed and you can get a second rescue just on time. Which is why Barmaid support is still pretty darn strong as well. So like there's really no saying that Barmaid isn't good at all in this current day meta. For Postman, he'll be a part of solo ranking. A little bit unfortunate for Postman. After well, I mean, there has been a lot of buffs for the recent survivors, which basically brings Postman down from niche to solo ranker. For Postman himself, of course, with area selection mode, it does help him out quite a bit, because if he's first chasing, it just gives speed boost, the movement speed boost, the letter to himself, or the Windows speed boost, whatever you want really, for Postman, for him to be able to contain a little bit longer. But like alongside with the fact that, you know, there has been the whole spiel of lawyer buff, there has been the whole spiel of like quite a little bit of other survivors buff. For Postman himself, he's not really like, his main use when he was niche was his 20% decoding letter, right? That 20% decoding letter is very strong, especially with the likes of, you know, a Mercenary and a forward, because like before it was 20% decoding buff, right? So like everyone in pro play would pick Postman for that, and because of that, right, no prisoner was ever taken, because why would you ever want a 15% reduction on your own, you know, cipher machine progress when you can give 20% to you and another rescuer for 30 seconds straight? But like for now, for Postman, of course, they decided to nerf him to make him a little bit more map balanced because of Cypher Rush, making it 10%. But like overall, his support is still pretty darn good, alongside with the fact that you do have, you know, Vault buff, which helps you vault 10% faster for a certain duration of time. You can get a window speed buff, you can get a movement speed buff, you can get a rescue buff, you can get a dungeon buff, and an execute buff that's basically the same thing. And you basically have a dog that can bite on towards the hunter to slow them down. But the issue really with Postman's dog Wick is the fact that it's pretty predictable, let's say, or it's pretty easy to land the dogs. No, to dodge the dogs, as long as Postman's pretty darn far away from the hunters. All they need to do is a mini side step just to react on time, because there is an animation for that as well. So like most hunters should be able to do it, which is why like for Postman sometimes landing the dog is going to be very hard. But like overall for Postman containments, let's say he's between average and above average, just like on the middle line of that. His rescue, I would not rescue with him. I would just keep sending letters to support and decode. I don't think he's really that type of rescue main, especially with the fact that he doesn't have anything to like close distance between himself and the chair. But like his end game is strong though, his mid to end game is still strong though, to be fair, which is why he's still a part of solo ranking. Now the next on the tier will be GK. GK will still be a part of niche. I guess for overall most of the rescuers, right, except for Wildling is just all the way down there. GK, you can say it's very similar to Mercenary again, but this time after GK's buff, he basically doesn't get countered by chip hunters anymore. What does this simply mean? This simply means that if you want to get a GK out of his shovel, it's either 1 hit or 2 chips. Right, back then it was 1 chip out and then you get an immediate hit, which is basically what Barmaid is good for. But now because of this, even Barmaid mains can't chase after GK anymore, because they don't stack bombs that fast early game at all, compared to mid and late game in which you get remote control bomb. But like for GK himself, there's also another buff in which when he gets out of shovel without being hit, as long as there's still more than 40% shovel remaining, he can keep that shovel, in which it means it's a reusable item, which is fairly nice as well, because back then you can bait Gravekeeper on the shovel, and then like after you leave GK he has only 1 shovel left, and then when he comes in to rescue a shovel, he's just rendered useless for second kite, right? Which is why for GK he's kind of, you know, not good during that time. You can say that he's very similar to Wildling, but like at least GK has more use than Wildling. Wildling has like 20% decoding debuff, 25% decoding debuff if I'm not wrong. GK only has 10. So like GK can still Cypher Rush as well, you know. But like overall for GK solo containment, it has went up from average to above average. Also for GK's rescue ability, after getting out of shovel, in which it's his burrow mode, he gains a 50% rescue buff, in which it means that it doesn't take you 1 second to rescue, it takes you 0.5 seconds to rescue. Yeah, that's gonna be very hard for the Hunter to Terror Shock, right? Because like for Hunter to activate their basic attack, it's 0.4 seconds most of the time. On average, it's 0.4 seconds. Right, for Gala I think it's 0.6 seconds because of the animation, or it could be 1 second. You never know, but like overall for GK, very nice rescuer, really hard to terror shock him. You like, and also against chip hunters you need to chip him twice to force him out of shovel. So like for Bonbon and Gala, you're gonna need a lot more than just, you know, 1 chip, especially with the fact that if you hit GK out of shovel form, he gets a no damage rescue, so like he can come into rescue again at full health. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation for hunters at the end of the day. But then like if you don't hit GK, then GK still has 2 shovels. So you know, either it's a lose-lose situation overall for the hunter. So either you force GK to have half health but he has 2 shovels, or he has full health and he has 1 shovel. So yeah, that's that for GK. Next on the list will be Prisoner. Prisoner, still, I'm gonna move him down from niche to solo ranking if I placed him in niche last season. That's simply because of Lawyer as well, because there's just a better decoder / container. I mean, Prisoner has his own use, which is a little bit unfair to say, but like if Prisoner gets first chased, can he survive for long? That's a really good question. But if Lawyer gets first chased, he can definitely survive for longer. Reason number 1, Terror Shock doesn't exist to Lawyer. Reason number 2, Lawyer gains so much. Just so much stuff throughout his containment. What does Prisoner get? Nothing. Lol. Prisoner did get his electrocution regeneration. Excuse me, his electrocution regeneration nerfed though, in which you basically can't get 3. He basically can't get 3 within the game. Like, you chase him once, he uses this, and then after chair he has it again, and after second chair he has it again. That's what I meant when I said by 3. But like for now, Prisoner, after nerfing it, he can only get 2 at max when he's like containing, unless he contains for very long. But overall for Prisoners, you know, solo containment, I'd say it's average. It's not really that good, but it's also not really that bad. It's very, very, very average. Right, but at least he doesn't really have any, like, you know, vaulting debuffs and such. He doesn't really have any debuff overall except for Heartbeat. But like, you can counter that just by, you know, area selection mode in Griffin. So like, everything because of that, it really is fine, because you know where the hunter is going to come from. You can just pull your distance away immediately, and whatever happens after that. But of course, for Prisoners' main use, it's to link up cipher machines, right? It's to link up cipher machines, so then like you can finish off your survivors cipher machine just a little bit faster. But that also comes with a problem. It's only when you're not first chase. It's only when you're not first chase, right? So then, like, once again, it depends on how long a Prisoner can contain. And Prisoners now in solo ranking because you have Lawyer and Mech. Lawyer who can contain for long, Mech who can decode on chair, right? Just those two overall, which is why I'm putting them above Prisoner. But like, because of Prisoner's link as well, he's able to finish Rescuer cipher fast. He's able to finish cipher machines that Rescuers can't finish fast. He's basically able to finish other cipher machines that Survivor decoded but then forgot about it fast. And like, you basically don't need to move from one area. You can stay in one very strong containment area and finish 3 cipher machines by yourself. But of course that does come with a price as well, because like, Prisoners usually really good with harassers, because like, you finish your Rescuer cipher machine and then your Rescuer goes rescue, your harasser is there to help with the rebound kite. Meanwhile, you change your link to your harasser's cipher and then you finish that cipher, so then like, we don't need to waste as much time to like get that cipher machine done. But like, overall for Prisoner, decoding wise, it's above average. Containment average, you don't rescue with him at all. But yeah, he's a part of solo ranking now because of the other 2 that's currently up there. I can't really say he can contain for long, sorry, because like, if we're gonna compare Prisoner to the other 2 that are above him, Lawyer has no debuffs as well, but Lawyer has just way more kish compared to Prisoner. Same as Mech. Mech may not be able to contain as well, but Mech can decode on chair, which means it's better for you to probably sell Mech for a guaranteed high. But like, overall for Prisoner, you can definitely still contain with him. But once again, just depends. Really, it just depends. Now the next on the tier list will be Entomologist. Entomologist will be a part of niche as well. Her containment is above average. Reason number 1, once she gets on bees, she gains a movement speed buff. Reason number 2, once she gets on bees, she can get off bees to basically dodge a basic attack. Right, which is pretty darn strong as well. So it's very strong against the currently meta single hit hunters, very fast chase type single hit hunters. And then reason number 3 is the fact that you can use Entomologist's bees to like mini assist survivors in narrow areas. So then like, hunters are forced to hit bees and then like, your survivors can rotate pretty darn far away. Entomologist doesn't really have a debuff at all, if I'm not wrong. Entomologist actually has no debuff. But also another part of Entomologist is excuse me, that when you vault over a window or a pallet, anything that's vaultable, if that's a word, right, you can put honey on the object, in which it means that survivors vaults that object 10% faster. So if you stack that with muscle memory, it's 25%. Now imagine battle rage mode with honey. That's and of course muscle memory. That's like a 70% vault buff right there for like a batter. You can't get terror shocked at all, can you? But like, aside from all that, right? Entomologist doesn't have a decoding debuff, so she's like an average 70-second finish the cipher machine type of survivor. Her containment is above average. Her bees are very nicely utilizing narrow areas, in which there's quite a lot of them, right? There's quite a lot of them in all the maps. But it's also including the fact that even if it's in open areas, hunters will still have to like loop around the bees in order for them to catch up to you. right? Because if you walk into the bees, has a 70% decoding debuff. Therefore, it's kind of like saying, is it better for me to hit the bees, or is it better for me to like walk around the bees? And like most of the times, Hunter will try to hit your bees because like because like it takes like 4 hits of bees after you use the bees. I think your bees will be gone. Right, but then like as an entomologist main yourself, you can take the bees back before the hunter hits your bees, in which it still buys you more time there. And it saves your bees, except for the fact that it goes in 20-second cooldown, but like, you know, we can all kite for 20 seconds, no problem. You can like just put 2 pallets down, vault a pallet or something, take a normal hit, and then you have your bees ready. So like, very, very good average containment there for entomologist overall. So like her containments are above average. She also has a very nice, decent global support skill in which you kind of do have to move your bees first, but still very good. Still very good. You can use her as a rescuer as well because her bees are like a fast movement type thing. So then like sometimes you can get towards Cheer a little bit faster. Right, sometimes you can get towards Cheers a little bit faster compared to like all the other survivors. I mean, it's very rare you see Entomologist as a decoder. Not decoder, as a rescuer. But like, speaking of rescue as well, right, you can use your bees to help the rescuer. So like, let's say if it's a single hit hunter, you can push the hunter back while they're hitting your bees and the rescuer gets a no damage rescue. Or even after the rescuer gets hit, you use your bees to push the hunter back to allow your survivor who's on chair to contain a little bit longer. So then like, you know, with all these type of pros here and kind of no cons for Entomologist, because she really doesn't have any debuffs, she's a very niche character, very, very good character overall. Next on the tier list will be Painter. Painter will be a part of the Team Comp tier list. Yeah, Team Comp tier, in all honesty. We have seen him in IVL, we have seen him in IVS, we have seen him in Japan, maybe. I haven't watched any Japanese games, so sorry about that. But like, we've seen in like these type of professional plays that Painter is very good paired alongside with Forward. That's what kind of makes him strong, because Forward with a long ball stun and Painter doesn't really have that chair thing. There's no such thing as, oh, before half rescue, after half rescue for Painter, you just rescue. Right, so then like for Painter, if you think about it, right, you pair him up with Forward, even if the hunter uses excitement for first painting, as long as the ball is long enough, the hunter will be stunned for quite a bit of time. You can pull distance, and then you can definitely get your painting up by the time that the hunter catches up to you for you to contain even longer for a rebound kite. Isn't that a great thing? But that's only in a team comp dependent field, right? It's only possible if you're in a team. If you're with randoms, that's going to be very hard for you to be able to duplicate. You at least need a duo that plays Forward, or that plays any type of stunners or something that can immediately rescue you and, you know, do all that shenanigan. Maybe a Wildling. Wildling basically come into rescue early, get on board, and then push the hunter back. Even Wildling can work alongside with Forward. Just Batter, there's like Batter, just like Weeping Clown, that kind of doesn't really work out as well. There's Antiquarian, etc, etc. But you know what I mean, right? Because like for Painter, really, his pros is his chair, his con is excitement. You're gonna get excitement down and you don't have items early game. He's like an Enchantress, but harder. Because like for Painter to get his paintings, it's harder for Enchantress to get one stack. Right? So like, I can't really put Painter above Enchantress, which is why like Painter's more team comp dependence compared to anything else. But like, aside from that, his containment is like, you know, from below average to above average if it snowballs well, but most of the time it doesn't, unless you're a team. So yeah, he's in a team comp dependent here. And also, I think it's with the fact that, like, you know, for painters overall, most survivors don't look back. That's what I just realized. Most survivors really don't look back most of the time. Maybe as painter you would, but most of the times you really wouldn't. Most of the time you really wouldn't. Excuse me. So like, painter is still team comp dependent. His decoding is fine. His rescue, I don't think you should rescue him unless you want to paint him. But all what the hunter needs to do is turn their back on you, and then hit you, and then like turn their back on you again right after they finish hitting you, so then you can't get painting at all. So yeah, that's that for Painter. Alright, next will be Batter. Batter will be a part of Niche as well, because now listen to me, right? Batter's decoding is shocking because he have a 20% decoding debuff, but his support and his containment is above the roof. Right? Having 3 balls doesn't mean that they're consumable items. They're reusable items, so you can recycle them. So you can pick them up again after you use them. The hunter doesn't break them, and even if the hunter really does break them, right? You basically bought 5 seconds for yourself to like get towards the nearest pallet/window area, and then like or even just pull a little distance for yourself. And then like if the hunter really does catch up to you, you can just use rage and then reset the back cooldown, and then push the hunter back again, which is fairly fine, right? You still have 1 ball on your hands to use, and like the hunter is probably forced to break the ball again because they broke one anyway. Why can't they break a second one, right? But like overall for batter, not a lot of hunters would like to chase after batter. Reason number 1 is because of the fact that with rage mode, if I'm not wrong, he gets a 50% vaulting buff. Gets a 50% volume buff. Now that is strong, isn't it? 50% is quite fast, to be fair, compared to, and like if you, or it's something along the lines of that, I'd say. And 40%, it may be 40%, and you stacked up with muscle memory, it'll probably be like 55% or something, right? But like overall for batter, most batter mains use flywheel. Most batter mains, in all honesty, use flywheel. So like if you want to play batter, run flywheel batter, because like in the odd case scenario in which your bat is in 10 second cooldown, you can flywheel a hit, put a pallet down, and then probably your bat and ball will be ready very soon. But it's also including the fact that when you bring flywheel, you need to open rage. Sometimes you don't necessarily have to open rage, right? But like what you can do is you open up rage, you bring flywheel, you flywheel the hit, you vault for the window. The hunter can't really hit you over the window anymore after that. Compared to TME, even if you flywheel at the window, you can definitely get hit over the window or get terror shock because of the TME's 15% vaulting debuff, right? So then like for batter, his containment is really good. His decoding is just like Mercy. It is slow, fair enough, but like because of that, he's a very strong harasser in which you can basically recycle his balls over and over again. But now listen, right? The first scenario I've given you guys was if that guy is first chased, then the hunter might break balls. But if batter is actually the one harassing for your survivors, then like the chance of the hunter breaking balls is very low. Why? Reason number 1, the survivor on chair is putting so far away. Reason number 2, even after you finish breaking ball, you don't necessarily have to use rage mode to reset your bat and ball cooldown. Why, you may wonder? Well, that's simply because of the fact, that's really because of the fact that, like, you know, if they really do decide to do that, you can catch up towards the survivor that's, you know, chaired, and then body block for them, and then wait, okay, do I have the body block, or can I just, you know, just stay there and then harass a little bit longer, push the hunter back with your back and ball. So like batter is a very strong harasser, very strong like forward, but then like decoding debuff is like mercenary, but containment is like forward as well. So like there you have it for that as well. Batter is kind of just like a forward, but like another version of it, because like the thing is, right, it's still easy for hunter to dodge. Well, it's not easy for hunter to dodge the balls, is what I would like to say, compared to the forwarding, which is always a guaranteed stun. But like after you use 3 bats and they all break it, it's basically gone. But like for forward, you can use like 5 mini stuns, and that's basically still better than a batter. Still better than a batter. But batter's balloon harass is very good though, because it's like a ranged balloon harass. So even with mischievous, you wouldn't really be able to counter batter's balloon harass. But like with all that in mind as well, there's also one more scenario I will give you, why I'm saying batter is niche, right? The other scenario is the fact that sometimes you can pick up your ball right after you use your bat and ball. So like when the hunter is near you and she is about to use attack, you push the hunter back, the ball drops on the ground, you pick it up, and then you refresh your you refresh your cooldown for your bat and ball. Like you can either keep rage mode on, in which when you push the hunter back you stun the hunter, or you just leave it off and just push the hunter back instead and maintain distance. That is very strong. That is very strong. But like the main difference between batter and forward is batter still does has his fair amount share of counters, with the likes of Bonbon, with the likes of chip hunters overall is what I would like to say, and of course with the likes of, like, you know, Anne, who else is there? Reptilian is also considered as one because of Crash. Wax Artist is definitely another one. And so much more, let's say, and so much more. So like batter has more counters compared to forward, right? Which is why batter cannot be a part of help me. Batter is part of niche. The next on the tier list will be Psychologist. Psychologist will also be a part of Niche, but not better than Barmaid. Psychologist may be able to tank 3 hits, but that's all what she's able to do, which means Psycho is able to at least guarantee you a blink hit down, or something around 70-second containment if they don't really blink down, which is like 2.5 seconds for being stunned by that point. Right? But like overall for Psychologist, her main use is her remote healing. Right, her wireless healing, her Wi-Fi healing, let's say, in which it means that if your rescuer goes to rescue and they need to rescue again immediately, all what Psycho needs to do is to whistle the survivor for 8 seconds and then they're back at max health. Is it very similar to Barmaid? Yes. Is it more convenient than Barmaid? Yes. But what's the difference between Barmaid and Psycho? It's the fact that Barmaid can get 2 Dovelings, and it's also including the fact that Barmaid have a speed boost, a Doveling speed boost, in which it means in Barmaid's kit, Barmaid can kite longer than Psychologist. Because not only can Barmaid tank 3 hits, Barmaid can also pull distance. Right, but whereas if it's a Psychologist, very hard to say, but she should at least still guarantee you a 60-second, well 70-second down, because like as long as she pulls distance early game, the hunters kind of force to not hit her. Like she can guarantee 25-second containment because her stress level is there for like 20 to 25 seconds guaranteed, right? But then like for a Psycho to take 3 hits in 20 seconds, that's really rare. That is also really rare. Even if Psycho gets terror shocked early game, that's okay. Get someone with no tight turner to rescue her, and then like she'll be back at max health. She'll be back at max health really. So then like it's kind of like saying, oh, is the hunter gonna chase after a Psychologist with max health and including stress level, or is the Psycho gonna chase after who just came to rescue? But like whoever came to rescue, that's a new butt on chair, so that's extra 20 to 30 second ball for you to decode, right? Which is basically quite a bit of cipher machines, especially mid to end game, to be fair with you on that part as well. But like knowing all this, you know, for a Psychologist, containment is okay, it's average, maybe a tiny little bit above average, but not actually in the above average range. So like just a little bit above average. Very minuscule amounts. But like because of the wireless heating, that's kind of just way too convenient, which is why she's been playing a lot as well. And like her containment is okay, as we've said as well. You could definitely use her as a rescuer as well, because the only thing that's stopping her from rescuing is a terror shock. She can tank 2 hits no problem like a Mercenary, and the only thing that's preventing him from rescuing is a terror shock, in which Mercenary can just terror shock no problem, still rescue. But yeah, that's that for Psycho. Next on the tier list will be Novelist. Novelist will be a part of replaceable tier. Why? It's simply because of the fact that, you know, it's like Thief before the buff. If you moonwalk a Novelist, he can't get anything on you, right? So like there's a lot of hunters that can counter a Novelist. I'd say around 70% of the hunter pool can counter Novelist by this point. So like even if you do play a Novelist, you gotta pray to God that it's someone that can't moonwalk you, or else you're kinda screwed with your containment. Now then, is Novelist good when it comes to rebound kiting, like assisting, harassing? Say at the same time, no, not really, because all what it takes is a moonwalk for you to not be able to get anything, right? And like his situation is very similar to Painter. Novelist go into rescue, turn your back against Novelist, and the Novelist can't get page. Hit Novelist, turn your back against Novelist, one Novelist rescues, Novelist can't get page, right? So then like, if Painter is in team comp, Novelist can't even be above on team comp at all, which is very unfortunate as well. Now then, Novelist does have this mini buff in which he gains like a bit of decoding buff when the cipher is below 50%, but if it's after 50%, like similarly, there's a debuff with that as well, right? There's a debuff with that as well. So like that's I don't even know if that's considered a buff or not. Like maybe it's considered a buff to finish 50% of Cypher Machine and then go into Harass. But like with the Harasser type and such, I don't think her Novelist is going to be able to do much, which is very unfortunate. It's also with the fact that after Novelist gets his first book, his second book is 3 seconds longer, and for a consecutive of 4 times. I think it's to a maximum of 15 seconds or 17 seconds if I'm not wrong. But like, also with the fact that, you know, it's fast chase hunter type, you know, meta for season 28. What does this mean? This simply means that even if you do get a 5-second book dub, Hunter most likely will be able to find where the survivor is, especially with the fact that Nostalgic is also a persona trait on the Hunter's tree. Even if you do use the book, after you finish using the book, the Hunter's probably still will be able to see where the survivor who's been cheered is at and then chase up to them immediately. So then like at the end of the game thing, is it useful? Not really compared to everyone else here. Now I would like to say that you do get a movement speed buff when it comes to, you know, how do I say, changing between Novelist and the survivor. So what this means is that you basically channel your book towards the survivor and you contain for the survivor and you're allowed to use all their items. But now what are the chances that randoms will allow you to do that? Very, very, very darn low. And then like what are the chances that, you know, in a team comp situation that you're able to get that 50% movement speed boost for 1/2 seconds? It's definitely very high in team comp wise, but then aside from that, you're not going to be able to do much, sadly. You're not going to be able to do much as a Novelist, especially when he can't really contain that well, because like Moonwalk basically kills him in a nutshell. So yeah, there goes that. Now the next on the tier list will be the little girl. Little girl will be a part of team comp dependent tier, but higher than Painter is what I would like to say, because there's more chances of a little girl being able to do much compared to Painter, which is kind of like, it depends on what your teammates pick as well. But like for the little girl, because of her recent adjustment in which I will call it's a buff, she doesn't reset attack recovery anymore after she pushes the hunter away, right? Well, I think that's nice. But like, I will not be biased. I will not take into consideration of all the survivor matches I've been playing this season and all the little girls coming into body block for no goddamn reason. Instead of decoding where there's 2 cipher machines left and I'm going into rescue as a main rescuer, and after I finish rescue they teleport in which I don't know where the hell their cipher machine is, instead of them decoding their own cipher machine and then letting me rescue for the second time because the cipher machine will be primed if they just fucking decode. Alright, rant aside. Little girl is still team comp dependent, right? You can't really play her with randoms because you never know what will happen. You never know. You don't know. I don't know what little girls are thinking. When I play little girl, I don't even know what I'm thinking. So I'm part of that as well. I'm not saying randoms are bad because I am also that one random in your team, right? I'm shading on myself and I'm shading on all of you. But like for little girl, you know, her containment ability is good, but it's also not that good because current metas hunters are high chase speed hunters, in which, you know, Geisha, Naiad, BQ, Reptilian, Undead, maybe not Undead, but like you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean, like Night Watch, etc, etc. Even if you do manage to push the hunter back, all they need to do is one butterfly catch up to you, no problemo at all there. No problemo at all there. And like, it's only a pushback, right? It's only a pushback as well. Like, I'm not saying, oh, pushback is weak. Oh, pushback is definitely strong. But like when it comes to solo containment early game, it's not really good for you. It's not really good for you. But of course, for mid to late game, little girl excels at, you know, basically body blocking for survivors, whoever's on chair, and like, you know, buying more time for the survivors. But like overall what I would say is, do your goddamn cipher machine and come body block only if there's 3 cipher machines left on the field. So then like if you can do it, go for it. But if you can't do it, let the tie time come out. Don't even bother blocking whatever the hell survivor there is on chair, and just decode your goddamn cipher machine. When it's first chair, 2 ciphers machine remaining, we don't need you coming in to rescue. There's already a priestess nearby who can come in to rescue. You don't need to. Thank you very much. Have a good day. But like overall, okay, sorry, I'm just ranting. I'm just really ranting right now. Can little girl be part of tie guarantee? Yes, but that simply depends on your survivors containing for long early game as well. But like, you know, as I was saying as well, like it really just depends on your team at the end of the day. Because like even if your survivor does well with the containments, if they don't really synergize with you properly when you're playing little girl, once again it's kind of like, you know, like I'm the prime example after that rant. Okay, we have 2 cipher machines remaining on the field. I do my rescue. Your cipher machine is like at 30% and accelerated decoding just started. Now, you as a little girl, you want to come in and body block, but me as a mercenary, I just want you to decode, because I can't finish the site, because I can't rescue, no problem, and Priestess is also nearby as well, if something odd happens. But then you suddenly come in to body block, and I'm there like, what the hell just happened? Where did you teleport from? What the hell? I was too focused on rescuing. Where the hell is your damn cipher machine? Right? So like, it's very team comp dependent. Because like, if your team doesn't know where the hell your cipher is, and then you teleport in, you're fucking screwed. You're just gone. By this point, you're gone. Your game is over. And that's how my game ended up as this morning's session, sadly. But yeah, little girl is team dependent, Now the next on the tier list will be Toy Merchant. Toy Merchant will still be pretty darn high a part of niche. Toy Merchant is more of a containment type survivor. Also, it's the fact that like her support isn't also too bad. Whether it's, well, I mean, her support is more effective in 2-story areas or even just big maps overall, to be fair with you on that part as well. But like overall for Toy Merchant, if you want to think, you can think of her as someone who can bring Tide Turner. Well, she can bring any type of persona as long as she wants to, really. But she's way more effective in 2-story / big open maps in general. For the likes of first stop, fourth stop, or even just any 2-story area in general, that catapult can be maximized efficiently used to like prolong either containments for your survivors or prolong containments for yourself. But overall for Toy Merchant, she's quite a hard chase early game as well. You need to consider quite a lot of factors when you chase after Toy Merchant. First thing is, can you chase towards, can you actually find Toy Merchant ASAP? Can you actually get her down ASAP? And then the second thing really is the fact that, okay, if I don't chase after Toy Merchant first, will she come bother me? And then the third thing is, Toy Merchant's very similar to a Mercenary in which she can basically get towards a chair without any repercussions at all. Like, she won't get prevented from rescue because she's basically invisible on air, which basically means that she's immune to Night Puddle, bombs, Gala statues. I would even dare to argue Mad Eye's fences, but since there's not that much Mad Eye mains in AEU, I don't think you need to worry about Mad Eyes that much as well, knowing that fact. But of course, you know, on and all, there's just so many things to consider here and there. So, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. Let's say it is what it is by this point and all. But like, still overall for Toy Merchant, still a very viable survivor to use. Definitely very viable survivors to use. So then, like, I kind of just suggest everyone, you know, if you want to try out Toy Merchant, she's not a bad pick. But overall, let's just say she's decent enough in your own rank sessions. Next on the tier list will be Patient. Patient will be very similar to Toy Merchant, except for the fact that Patient has 3 hooks instead of Toy Merchant having 2 catapults to use for herself. For Patient himself, he's a part of niche simply because of the fact that, like, he's very similar to Toy Merchant, as we said before. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you can reach towards the chair without any repercussions. Very similar to Merc, except for the fact that Patient is someone that actually needs to fly on air, so he needs to hook on towards something on air in order for him to pull that distance or even just to contain longer. But like overall for Patient, his decoding is still average, very average. There's really nothing much I can say about Patient. You can use him on small maps, you can use him on big maps in which it's a little bit more efficient, but small maps you can still use him very well. Like, you don't even need to bring windows or flywheel, you can bring Tide Turner, right? And as long as you use your 3 hooks, it's basically a guaranteed 60/70 second containment, in which by that time you'll be forced by the hunter to use their blink. Of course, you may say the likes of Geisha, the likes of BQ, but what I will say to you is Geisha and BQ basically gets countered with Tide Kiting. Well, I mean, Geisha gets countered by Tide Kiting, so then like the moment Geisha dashes, you can also dash. Similarly with BQ, the moment that BQ gets her mirror out, what you will do is you'll pull your hook away from the mirror, in which it's hard for BQ to land her mirrors. Right, but overall for Patient, very good solo containment, very good rescue overall, but not better than Merc, but still a good enough rescue, and she doesn't have any decoding debuff as well. Paired very nicely with Psychologist for their mini lover attribute, in which they can dash towards each other. But overall for now, Patient is still a part of niche, no changes in the tier list. Now the next on the tier list will be Weeping Clown. Weeping Clown will be a part of solo ranker, let's say. You can't really use Weeping Clown as well compared to everyone else down below, but he is still a little bit viable when it comes to solo ranking yourself. For example, if you're first chase, you basically have 3 rockets to pull distance, and once your rocket explodes, it gives you like a 2-second movement speed boost if I'm not wrong. But also it's with the fact that you can use your rocket to carry your survivors and pull distance along with them, or just leave your survivor on the rocket and they can control the rocket themselves, whether it's in a straight direction or not. But overall for Weeping Clown as well, you could say he does have potential when it comes to like balloon harassing, but that balloon harassing, you need to time it very well so there is no balloon animation, balloon drop down animation when it comes to, you know, like this, when it comes to, you know, like such as things that's like, you know, drop down balloon animation in which is basically 2 seconds and you can only get stunned for 3 seconds. So you know, you gotta be careful with that as well. But if I'm not wrong as well, I don't think Weeping Clown has a decoding debuff. Does he? I genuinely don't think he does. From my memory anyways, I don't think he does, unless I'm wrong, which I definitely could be 100% wrong. But overall for Weeping Clown, very strong solo containments, that's a pros, right? Very strong early containments, that's part 1. Part 2 is the fact that he can assist his survivors as well when it comes to, you know, balloon rescuing, or when it comes to assisting with containments as well, or when it comes to assisting with harass. Because what you could definitely do is, you could definitely pull your rocket out and then stun a hunter to allow your survivors to pull a bit more of a distance. Of course that requires, you know, skill set and practice with aim and such, but I'm not really that worried when it comes to, you know, mid/high tier. It's not really that hard to learn those type of skill sets, but you know, it does still require a little bit more of a practice. So for Weeping Clown, he's still a part of solo ranking for now, simply because of the fact that, you know, his rocket isn't really as good as, you know, a Patience Hook and such, but it's enough for you to be able to pull distance, let's say, and get towards the nearest transitioning area. Now the next on the tier list will be Professor. Professor will still be a part of solo ranker. We will move Professor a little bit further down because his own mini assist kind of got reduced by NetEase, simply because of the fact that, you know, having 3 scales on the field is pretty darn strong as well. I think we can all agree with the fact that having 3 scale on the field is really strong, because like, it basically counts as all survivors can pick up a mini shell shock. It's like a mini Seer owl, all survivors can do it, which is why NetEase decided to say, hey, we're gonna reduce the amount of mini skills that's on the field, just so the survivors, well, not the survivors, but like the hunter have an easier time when it comes to chasing after survivors. Because like, Professor in tourney settings, right, he's basically like a substitute for Seer, or I would dare to say a little bit stronger than Seer because of those mini scales. Even though the mini scales doesn't do as much compared to, you know, compared to Seer himself, but it's still enough to do decent enough of like body block and allow survivors to vault over or even transition to better kiting areas and such, which is why like for Professor, that's kind of why NetEase decided to nerf him. But also at the same time, the nerf doesn't really affect Professor that much, because like at the end of the day, in our own solo ranking sessions or just in team comp viable sessions overall, he's kind of just there to like, you know, solo containment and provide 1 skill when he goes to rescue and such. And like, you can't really rely on your randoms all the time as well, which is why I'm saying this. But like overall for Professor, even with that scale nerf, it's kind of for tourney sessions only, so it doesn't really affect our rank matches too much, thankfully. But overall for Professor, still a part of solo rankers, still a very, very, very good solo containment and a mini assist character overall. Now the next on the tier list will be Antiquarian. Antiquarian will be on the very top of Help Me. For the Help Me tier list, of course, we all know why Antiquarian is so high up there. Having 3 flutes basically gives you 5-second disarm time, and you can basically slack it up to a maximum of 18 seconds. That is very strong. I think that no one can disagree with me, even though, you know, per each flute it's 25-second debuff. It's 25-second cooldown. At the end of the day, right, you can basically use 1 at a time. So you use 1, that's a 5-second disarm, you go towards the nearest pallet chest window, you can vault over that and basically buy 3 extra seconds for yourself. So like, you can buy technicality, say 1 disarm is a free 10-second kite, right? 3 disarm is a free 30-second kite, and then like basically Antiquarian gets like 5 disarms if I'm not wrong, or 6 disarms, so that's like a free 50-second kite early on into the game, and you basically still have max health by the time that you get the next hit. So is that strong? That's very strong, yes. So like now we've verified the fact that her solo containment is very strong. Let's move on to her assist. For Antiquarian's assist, you can basically assist when it comes to, you know, mid-kite harasses. Very similar to forward. Maybe the stun duration isn't as long, but it's good enough for you to be able to use 3 of your flutes in a row. So you can stun hunters for like a guaranteed 3 seconds to allow your survivors to pull far away or just to rotate to a better transitioning area. That by itself is very strong. If we could take Professor's skill into consideration, it's basically 3 times as effective as Professor, except for the fact that Antiquarian actually has to be there. Now, what's the second thing? Second thing is when it comes to assisting, right? Antiquarian, if she lands all 3 flutes at the same time, it's a 5-second disarm. It's a 7-second disarm. In a nutshell, it is a 7-second disarm. Because like if you use 1 flute, it's only like a 1-second disarm. It's very low, but if you stack it up, it goes up to 7 seconds. Now, imagine this when Antiquarian comes into Balloon Rescue: 1 flip, 1 stun, and an immediate follow up for the 2nd stun and 3rd stun. So basically, what happens here is your survivor has successfully balloon struggled or balloon rescued, and then this hunter has a 7-second disarming, which it means that your survivor has a 7-second amount of duration to be able to pull towards the nearest pallet/window and to contain for even longer. Now that by itself is strong as hell. That by itself is genuinely speaking strong as hell, and you can't really deny the fact that like that isn't strong. Also, Antiquarian has an extra thing, it's called a spin, in which it basically gives you 5% extra movement speed boost. That also by itself can allow Antiquarian to loop around areas against like hunters who basically are very slow moving, such as Hermit, such as Gala, Bonbon, chip hunters overall, and quite a few more. I'm just not going to list off all of them, but like overall for Antiquarian, it's still a very strong, decent solo container. You can basically counter all hunters, including Bonbon, right? You can basically swipe the bombs, but alongside with that, you can swipe the hunter at the same time. Is that not strong as we see IVL, IVS, IJL, and Koa overall? It's just, she's still very strong, So yeah, Antiquarian definitely is up there on the help me tier list. Now the next on the tier list will be Composer. I genuinely don't know where to put Composer, except for at the very bottom of solo ranking, let's say. There's just one reason I don't see him as a decoder anymore. I also don't see him as a container as well, but I guess you could run the double speed boost on him if you really want to do so, which you can put a lot of distance, right? But like since the meta has changed from slow chip hunters like Gala and Bonbon into like fast chase hunters like, you know, Night Watch, Geisha, and you know the likes of this, it's really hard for me to know where to put Composer, because A, he's worse than every decoder out there. But he's above TME because of the fact that he can contain better than TME, but TME can see through walls, which is also another factor that you have to kind of bring in. I personally don't know where to put Composer. It's not because it's just so hard. It's genuinely speaking just so hard. Because like on one chance you can say like, oh yeah, okay, so what does Composer get? Composer can decode with calibrations, which makes him more fun compared to Lawyer. I guess that's a pros, but then like if you are very hardcore on ranking, that's not a pros for you. Because like if you think about it, right, Composer and Lawyer, Composer gets a 20% decoding buff when, I don't know, maybe 80%ing towards a cipher machine, and Lawyer gets that 100% when he finishes one cipher machine. But overall, Lawyer just have much more better things compared to a Composer, right? So like you need to think of the fact that Lawyer can vault windows / pallets faster. Lawyer can't get terror shocked. Lawyer also basically can see where the hunter is at all times. So like if you compare Composer to Lawyer, you can say Lawyer has both Composers and TME's kit, but Composer is just Composer, right? Meanwhile, at the same time, yes, Prisoner decodes at a 110% speed, but Prisoner can finish up their rescuer cipher fast from a long distance, so they don't need to go back towards that cipher machine, which is why Priz is better. Similarly with Explorer, he knows where the hunter is at all times, and he also can get a 100% page within 50 seconds in towards the game, right? Because that's just how strong every other decoder is compared to Composer. So like it's very hard for me to be able to put Composer anywhere, especially with the fact that like against, you know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you need to let go of the calibrations immediately when decoding if the hunter is near you, and sometimes you may actually not realize the hunter is near you. That's also another issue there as well, is what I think. But usually, right, since Composer does have an inner trait of basically when the hunter reaches a certain radius of Composer, the hunter gets outlined for 5 seconds. But once again, it's hard for me to judge Composer as of now. He just seems fairly weak compared to everyone else, which is why I'm actually gonna throw Composer down to replaceable right now, because there's just so many better options out there compared to Composer right now. So I don't see Composer as that much of a good use, which is very, very, very unfortunate. Next on tier list will be Journalist. Journalist, pretty much I'm also a bit confused as of now. Because I will put Journalist on solo ranking, right? Because she's so much kit to use compared to Cordy and such. You know what? Actually, you know what? She deserves to be in solo ranking. She does. A few reasons. First reason being she's kind of tie guarantee anyways, which is great and all. And second reason being she can assist survivors when it comes to, you know, putting down pallets, so survivors can run away faster when a little Orphe comes out. And she basically guarantees rescue. Not as well as Merc, but still basically guarantees rescue. Right, and then like there's just so much things you need to consider as well for Journalist. She only has a 10% decoding debuff when the game starts, but if she gets chased, as long as she uses her little Orphe well, her containment usually can go up to 60 seconds because she has 3 little Orphes to use. And whenever little Orphe is actually near Journalist gets an 8% movement speed boost. If a little Orphe gets hit, Journalist gets a 50% movement speed boost for 1 second. And a lot of Journalist mains use little Orphe as a body blocker, so that it can help her rotate to better places to contend with, or such the likes of, you know, assisting survivors overall with a rebound kite and such. But if you consider everything right now, right, if Journalist doesn't get chased first, then everything should be fine and dandy, and she should be able to decode the cipher machine relatively fast. And, you know, it's not as harsh as the 20% decoding debuff. She only gets 10, but of course it stacks per each little Orphe she uses. So what does this mean? It's only bad for Journalist to decode if she's being chased early on in towards the game. And if she is being chased on early on towards the game, I say I don't even think she has a chance to decode. Which is why, like, I think, you know, maybe for Journalist, she's probably part of solo ranking, because you can still use her to an extent like Perfumer, but not better than Perfumer. Okay, she basically guarantees rescue as well, because like if you hit, because like the thing with Journalist is, right, Journalist gets her rescue little Orphe out, and it's very similar to GK in a sense, but when Journalist gets a little Orphe out, the hunter either has to hit little Orphe, in which Journalist gets a free damage rescue, or the Journalist gets a hit and little Orphe goes to get the rescue. Right, but what are the differences? The differences is really within the attack refresh recovery. But like if you do hit little Orphe, even if you get a 30% attack recovery speed boost, Journalist has a 50% movement speed boost for 1 second, so she can basically rush up towards the chair immediately and get that rescue no problem. Right, even if you hit little Orphe. So at the end of the day, it is still a no damage rescue. Her containment overall is based from player to player. I wouldn't really say like it's, you know, set there, but overall it's still very based from player to player. But I say Journalist is still a part of solo ranking. Yeah, definitely still a part of solo ranking. Now the next on the tier list will be Aeroplanist. Aeroplanist will be a part of solo ranking, I guess, but yeah, he can't really be higher, you see, because like if Aeroplanist gets chased first, he does have like a distance pull type of kit for him to be able to like rotate away. He also does have a really good rescue ability. If he hovers on air and goes into rescue, like against Knight and Bomb, this is very good. But also at the same time, right, I think the main issue really is the reason why he's not higher is because, you know, he can't guarantee as much as everyone else. So like for Aeroplanist, you get 3 dashes per your shuttle, let's say, per your jetpack. And during that time, what you need to consider is there are still chances of Aeroplanist being able to like make a mistake with the directions and basically rush towards the hunter. Right, there is still that possibility in which we genuinely speaking have to take into account as well, which is why like it's not really as stable as like, let's say, Patient, Toy Merchant as such. But like as time passes by, you can definitely get better, but there are still the chances of you not being able to, how do I say, not being able to like do it 100% correct all the time. Right, because like if Patient mains can fail their hooks, then the chances of Aeroplanist mains not actually standing in the right direction is still pretty darn high as well. Honestly, probably is higher than Patient's hook fail. But overall for Aeroplanist kit, you know, rescue is very decent. Decoding, he gets a 1% decoding buff when he touches a cipher machine. So I guess that's for like a mini, you know, just speeding up decoding overall. In JP server, they put him on SS tier or S tier. I don't know why, but I don't see Aeroplanist any better, to be fair. I mean, his hover is very good against like slow chase hunters like Gala, Bonbon, Hermit and such, but overall Aeroplanist is good in 2-story too as well, to be honest with you, like Big Bosch and then like, you know, second stop, third stop, etc, with the hover ability. But like current day meta is about chase type hunters, so I don't really know whether I can put him up higher or not. But of course, if you have like any other suggestions, I'll see you in the comments. I'll genuinely see you on the comments. I read the comments, I just don't reply to most of them. I genuinely don't, lol. Anyways, moving on, next will be Cheerleader. Cheerleader will be a part of Help Me tier list as well. Now, people, I know, right, I've talked to Sugushanka Studio about this as well, and I don't disagree with him. As long as you chase after Cheerleader first, everything will be fine. That statement itself, yes, we all do agree, but just the fact that you're being forced to chase after a Cheerleader first thing in towards the game and deny everyone else is very scary. It is very, very, very scary. Now, what do I mean by this? So Cheerleader, let's just talk about Cheerleader's kit first, shall we? So what does Cheerleader have? Cheerleader has 2 stacks of pom-pom initially early game. She can use those 2 pom-poms to gain a 4% movement speed boost, at a 70% movement speed boost, and then another, you know, slow debuff for 4 seconds. So it may seem like it does even itself out quite a bit, but here is the catch. The catch is Cheerleader also has a second skill in which it basically reduces her cooldown by 30 seconds. Her bomb-on cooldown is 30 seconds. So what does this mean? This means Cheerleader can use her pom-poms twice. So it's an 8-second duration of a 70% movement speed boost with 4 seconds of, you know, 4 seconds of normal walking. Now, does this seem balanced? Initially, yes, but 8-second movement speed boost at a speed boost of 70%. How many hunters are you going to lap? That's quite a lot of hunters you're going to lap, especially early game as well. And like a lot of Cheerleaders will run flywheel with this, so like what Cheerleader can do is, right, I don't even think they need to use flywheel at all because they're so far away from the hunter, but like you need to consider, okay, when they're walking, hunter will definitely try to hit the Cheerleader. Right, and so it's just a basic mind game there with the flywheel and, you know, the basic hits and like it's just a lot of stuff overall. But like because of this as well, Cheerleader's early game containment is very good. So let's say, like, I'll give you one example each. Let's say you're Cheerleader in Shack, you contain in Shack for a little while and then you want to rotate to Factory. No problem at all, 8-second pom-pom speed boost straight into Factory, free containment for you. Let's give you Red Church for example. In Church, you contain in, let's say you contain at the breakable walls where the cipher machine is at near Red Carpet. Oh, you use up all the carpet, you use up all the pallets there. What are you going to do? You're going to pom-pom for 8 seconds and rotate directly towards the nearest the best containment area, which is either, you know, church or just near that area overall, or red carpet. Is that strong? Yes, that is very strong. What else is there? Hospital is hospital. Just go into hospital, right? And then like in Ever Sleeping Town, you can basically loop in that map no problem at all for quite a long time, especially in 2-story areas. So then you can think about it as like, oh, I'm in middle, I'm being contained, I use my 2 pallets in middle, 2 pompons, I'm straight in graveyard. What kind of hunter 2? Nothing. And like 70% movement speed boost, 70% movement speed boost for 8 seconds. The hunter cannot catch up to you whether it's a dash hunter or not. They just can't. I give you the odd Podum can do it, but everyone else no. They just can't. It's not possible. It, genuinely speaking, isn't possible. So her solo containment is still very strong at the end of the day. Now, what else is there? What else is there? Her cooldown reduction can also be applied to survivors. So it reduces survivors' cooldown by 20 seconds. Who's this good for? This is good for every survivor out there is to be known. Let me just look at the tier list. It's good for Seer. It's good for Seer. It's good for Antiquarian. It's good for Forward. It's good for First Officer, GK, Prospector, Batter, Entomologist, because when you get the bees, when you take the bees away, it goes into a 20-second cooldown. Patient, Toy Merchant. Forget about the decoders. Forget about Barmaid as well, because she doesn't really have a reduction. You can give it to Psychologist to heal. Acrobat, Perfumer. Female Dancer also doesn't have any cooldown reduction. What else is there? There's Prisoner, Clown, Cowboy, Magician, Professor, Thief, Aeroplanist, Coordinator, Journalist, Postman maybe you can reduce Wick. Right, and then like you will have, you know, Embalmer, TME, Enchantress, Little Girl, Painter, definitely. I don't know. Well, Gardener with a cool kit. Yes, Gardener doesn't have. No, Doctor doesn't have a cooldown reduction. Composer, Novelist, Wildling, Lucky Guy. So many. Right, it's like 90% of the survivors pool right now. 90% of the survivor pool. That is very strong, isn't it? But that's not all what's in Cheerleader's set. There's more. Oh la la, there's more. What else is there? There's also Encourage. Encourage basically allows the survivor to move at a 5% movement speed boost, but Cheerleader has to be within tinnitus range to encourage the survivor. So it gives them a 5% movement speed boost. It also stacks an immediate 5 stacks of pompon encouragements, in which the survivors can use those for a 1.5 second 70% movement speed boost. It's like a mini flywheel to go towards the nearest patch chest window with a 0.5 second repercussion. Now you may say, hey, at least there's a debuff though. Yeah, there's a debuff, but that debuff is gone after you vault affecting pallet or window, so that's not a debuff at the end of the day. That's number one. Number two, it's very easy to stack 26 stacks immediately on towards a survivor. And what do I mean by 26 stacks? Cheerleader is basically like a free borrow time. Once you get 26 stacks and the 100 hits you, the survivor basically consumes all 26 stacks and then like get back to full health. Right? Now, why is it easy? First and foremost, you gain 1 stack. You gain 5 stacks initially when Cheerleader starts cheering on you. So what does this mean? You only need to cheer 21 times. Right, and that's like around 15 to 20 seconds, because Cheerleader sequence is 1 1 1 1 1, so that's 5 stacks, and then 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, so that's 9 plus 5, 14 stacks, and then 1 1 1 1, and that's fast to do, right? So it's 5 seconds for 5 stacks, and then like if I'm not wrong, 6 seconds for 9 stacks. That's fast, my friends. That is fast. So you only need 20 seconds for Cheerleader to get 26 stacks. Right? Pair it up with a harasser or body blocker. Even better. Even better. And it's not like the harasser even needs to be there for long. All what the harasser has to do is, right after the rescue, harasser stuns once and done. Basically stunning once allows the survivor and Cheerleader to get their 5% movement speed boost and put away, right? And by the time that you finish being stunned, the survivor will already have 11 stacks. I'm not joking. They will already have 11 stacks, right? And then think about it this way, you need to catch up to the survivor. You need to take 5 seconds to catch up to a survivor, let's say bare minimum. Okay, 16 stacks. Now they have 16 stacks. So it's 10 more stacks until 26 stacks. But oh, you know what? Guess what? The survivor is near a pallet slash window and cheerleader is just cheering or slash body blocking right there. What are you gonna do? You can't hit the cheerleader, that's for sure, right? And then like the stacks will disappear after 10 seconds. But realize this. Cheerleader's encouraged cooldown is 8 seconds. Stacks disappear after 10 seconds. So like, even if your counter argument to me is, oh, let's just wait for cheerleader to leave and then the stacks will disappear after 10 seconds. No one's gonna do that, right? Why would cheerleader? So you're telling me, oh, the moment cheerleader leaves, oh, the 10 second gone, stacks disappear. By that time that happened, listen, there is like, the cipher is primed by that point, my guy. The cipher is primed. That's why they left. It's because the cipher's goddamn primed. What else would be the reason why cheerleader left? It's because the cipher machine is primed. So not only are you forced to hit cheerleader, but also at the same time, even if you hit cheerleader, the stacks aren't gonna go away. The stacks aren't going away. It's staying there. And cheerleader can maintain those stacks because her encouraged cooldown is 8 seconds, and as long as you encourage again within 10 seconds, everything is fine, right? It's not only that as well, it's also the fact that encourage can give you movement speed boost. So if the survivor really wants, they're almost about to get hit, they take their 5%, they take their 1.5 second 70% movement speed boost and vault a window, and then like cheerleader can keep encouraging there, right? But like, this scenario is only when the harasser leaves after the first stun. Now imagine the harasser is there until she gets 26 stacks. 2 body blockers, and one of them is a harasser, one of them is a cheerleader. What are you going to do in that situation? You're not going to be able to do much. You aren't going to be able to do much. You really aren't. On the odd chance, Bonbon and Gala counters. But the thing is, right, Bonbon and Gala is not current day meta. Current day meta is all about fast chase hunter type. So even if you do get a Bonbon or a Gala out, as long as there's a harasser there, you're screwed. If there's no harasser, okay, maybe you have a chance. But if there's a harasser, you're screwed. And all it takes is for the 3 survivors, 1 who's being chased and 2 the body blockers, having 1 body blocker to block a pallet. What are you gonna do? You're gonna walk around the pallet, or you're gonna hit the survivor that blocks the pallet. You're of course gonna you're gonna do either or, right? But whatever one you do, by the time that happens, 26 stacks, no problem. 26 stacks, no problem. So like, why is cheerleader part of help me? Why am I elaborating this much? Reason number 1, you're forced to chase her early game. That by itself is, it's like very strong points. You're forced to chase her, and she has a very strong containment ability. Point number 1. Point number 2, she can globally reset cooldown for survivors, reduce it by 20 seconds for survivor and 30 seconds for herself. You cannot tell me that's not strong, especially if Seer didn't give Owl on time. So Seer looked a little bit too early on towards the survivor and couldn't give Owl. All you need is cheerleader 20 seconds and then immediately Owl ready to go. You can't tell me cheerleader is not as strong, right? Because like currently in our niche tier list, who do we have? We have Acrobat, who has the mini assist with the mobile. We have Prospector Batter, the main harasser. We have Entomologist, the bees. You're forced to hit the bees, or is you gonna get a 70% movement speed debuff. You have a toy merchant. Jump on a toy, or jump on a catapult, no problem. You have a psychologist and a barmaid who can, and a perfumer who can tank hits. You have a female dancer. You have a female dancer with slow music boxes. Are you telling me you're not gonna hit the slow music, but you're not gonna break the slow music box? If you don't break the slow music box, you're still screwed. You are screwed, because you're being slowed. And then cheerleader and the survivor has a 5% movement speed boost. And imagine the one you're chasing after is like a lawyer or a painter. Well, they're gonna have a 10% movement speed boost, so joke's on you. Joke's on you. You also have a cowboy, a weeping clown, a prisoner, an enchantress, professor, thief, coordinator, journalist, postman with wick, little girl, painter, gardener, doctor with a body block, wildling, lucky guy with his items, novelist with the page, and a, well, maybe not composer, but like, see how many survivors here can synergize so well with cheerleader. It's not even a bad synergy, it's a good enough synergy. But like, best synergies with cheerleader currently is Antiquarian, Forward, Prospector, Batter, and Perfumer, and Barmaid. Just anyone who can tank it overall, like an Entomologist. It's not even a joke, and you're forced to chase after cheerleader just for that tie. And what if cheerleader spawns very far away from you? Are you gonna go after cheerleader then? No, you're not, because cheerleader is gonna pull distance immediately and pull another 8-second distance away from you. So like its cheerleader's very strong. Very, very, very strong. On the odd chance, right, there is a Night Watch. To be fair, Night Watch counters a lot of survivors, which is why Night Watch is like meta. But like in mid tier right now you can only ban 1, thankfully, but in high tier you can ban 2. Well, that kind of evens out because you don't have area selection mode anymore, but not having area selection mode kind of does suck as well because you can't just go after cheerleader. But that's all what I have to offer you for season 28 Survivor tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you do, leave a like. If you like being here, why not sub? Ha ha ha. I'm not used to doing this. I'm really not used to doing this. But that's all what I have to offer you for today. Now then, if you have any other, you know, suggestions and such, please do tell me. Just write it down in the comments below. I may reply to you, I may not reply to you. I usually change my opinions based on comments and such because, you know, some of you guys are more knowledgeable to a certain character than compared to me. But once again, that's all what I have to offer for you for today. I will see you all in maybe the 100 tier list if I'm gonna make it. Bye bye for now. Have a good day, good night, sugar buns.